Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are getting all cryptid tonight. Charlie Mewshaw is here tonight to talk about all things lost, legends, folklore, and the history behind them. We're in for a great show tonight as we are going to have a lot of fun. Dirty Filth is here with another great cartoon. Best of all, you all are here. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position, Chris Laker with a silver, Kitty Caddywhack with a nice bronze medal tonight, and Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing fourth place tonight. Frankie B, Brown Dwarf, Kathy Evans, how you doing? Kathy Evans will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Mel WD-40 is back, lubing us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want that rigidness. It's never comfortable. That's why we get lubed up and get excited. That way we just slide on in, people. Slide on in. Thanks, Mel, for the lube. We appreciate it. Little Timmy James. How you doing, buddy? Carla, nice to see you. And, yes, we know the Dodgers won the World Series over. Yeah. Cosmic Joe, how you doing? And thank you very much for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to help out what we do on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Phyllis Boucher Perry, thank you for coming on in. Noble Patrick, Millennium, my man. John Lamb, nice to have you all here. As we scroll on down and say, Fapster, look at this. Look at this crap. Dave, you can suck it. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts, you know. This is why, this is typical LA Dodger fan. Okay. Yeah, on top of the world, just throwing insults to the downtrodden and sore. Yeah, it's a California thing, I guess. Jeremy Jones, how you doing? Operation Shutdown, nice to see you. Brown Dwarf, Necessary Dialogue, bringing some love here. Love back to you, my man. And Pam Harris, nice to have you back. Scrolling on down, we got Mama Catherine. Mwah! I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day, and tomorrow will be just as awesome. Algaray over on Twitch. No workout tonight. He's just pounding back the cotton candy, the chocolate, and everything. Going hard. 250 chocolate bars in 10 minutes he pounded to warm up for tonight's show. Nikki in Seattle, how you doing? Thanks for coming on in. Hi there, W. David Page. Candy is here. Candy will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Moving on down. Who's next on our list here? Scott's Life. Good to have you here. And Carrot in the Woo Train. Thanks for coming on in. Scott Taylor, good to see you. Christine Lynn, thanks for coming on in. And Lee the Bee, nice to have you here. Ozzy, how's it going down there? Philip Miller, how you doing? And who's next? Dirty Filth is in the chat room as well. Joey Glow, welcome back to SOR Chat. So we continue on with our roll call. There's Chill Farm. Nice to have you here. Mr. Cowley, what's happening, my friend? Matthew Gutka. Hillbilly Herb. Yep, love that name. I just honestly, it's one of the best that we have in the chat room, next to Dry Toast. Those are my two favorite names. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are warming up. Charlie Mewshaw is here. We're going to talk all sorts of monsters tonight. Why shouldn't we? 'Tis the night before Halloween, so we need to be doing this. Christy Campbell, how are you? As we continue on with roll call, there's Digger Dog and the lovely Stephanie Jackson. Moving on down. Up next, we say hello to Menial Scientist, Paramarv, Kevin Kennedy, Scanman, Paul Demon. Good to have you all here. Richard Minnick, thank you for joining us. Hi, Marty Burback and Chris Jarvis. Woo-poo, what's happening? Joanne, nice to see you. And who is next? Richard, thank you for that lovely super chat. We greatly appreciate it, my friend. Cat's Tongue, how you doing? Hope you're having a good night as we got like 10 seconds. Stargazer, how you doing? Ethanol, nice to see you back. We're caught up. Don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SLR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the bump foot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on your website. Our website is... We got a power Halloween show for you tonight as we are going looking for legends, monsters, folklore. Charlie Mewshaw is here. We're going to have some fun with him tonight. Then in hour number 3, we got Swamp Dweller with a spooky story. Then little Timmy James will have some weird news on the UFO report regarding Lou Elizondo, so you stick around for that as well. Let's get right to it, shall we? Charlie Mewshaw is an author, researcher, and program host that has spent years researching historical, anthropological. I can never say that word. Anthropological. It's not the first time I've stumbled on that one. And natural resource sciences behind folklores and legends of North America. His approach blends his educational background in natural science with technology, practical fieldwork, and archival research. Charlie has been a guest on numerous conferences and conventions, sharing his findings and exploring theories of the unexplained with an accessible enthusiasm that encourages discussion and collaboration. I'm excited about this one. I hope you are too. So let's bring him on from literally North Carolina. Launch Monster Files. Charlie Mewshaw, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Fantastic. Anytime I get to talk monsters, it makes for a good night. You know what I'm saying? Happy Halloween to you as well, my friend.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Absolutely. Cheers to that. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I concur. Any opportunity to talk about this kind of stuff is fun. It's what drives me, and I'm happy to be here. And hopefully, some people can also chime in from the comments with questions and commentary on this stuff as well.
We'll get to that in hour number 2 because I guarantee they'll have some questions for you. This is something that has always kind of been, the itch you've needed to scratch since childhood. For a lot of people, they don't understand, why someone would allegedly waste their time trying to chase down things that allegedly don't exist. Yet here you are, just like many others, around North America, chasing Bigfoot, Dogman, little people, monsters, witches, ghouls, goblins. You know, you love it. This is something you do. Why do you do it?
I, I've been asked this before, and my question is, it always comes back to a sense of wonder and hope. And if we had the answers to the unexplained, it wouldn't be unexplained. It would be the mundane, right? But the fact that there are things out there that recur across generations, across cultures, there are still things on this planet that we haven't figured out. And I have hope that I'll be alive when one of these things gets explained. And it's exciting to do as much research as you can into the unexplained, to hopefully try to just figure it out. It's just fun to talk about, man. Like, we could sit here and talk about boring stuff, or we could talk about things that are exciting, and this excites me. So
I can already hear the excitement in your voice talking about this. I mean, this is something it's not only your passion, but I can tell you love this. You love being that guy who goes out chasing monsters. You love being that guy who is out there searching for any sort of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would feel like to not look up at the night sky and feel wonder at the scope of the universe and the possibilities of, you know, what's out there, or stand on the brink of you know, on the edge of a mountain and look out across unsettled territory and wonder, like, what else is out there? Like, it's just, for me, it feels natural, that sense of wonder and hope that there's, you know, something different out there than what we know, the mundane. And I, you know, I just want to spread that as much as possible. And I feel like it's important to share that with people. Like, hey man, it's okay to like have an experience and talk about it, or like, it's okay to not have all the answers. Like, lean into the fact that there's still things that are weird out there.
And it's okay to be weird.
Yes,
You know,
it's okay to be weird.
I had my first experience. I told this story a couple of times on the show now, but I had an experience with this young lady and a friend of mine, his daughter, where his daughter's 23 years old. And I was bugging him because he works in the logging industry, and he was bugging him about where all the Sasquatch were. And she looks at me with that 23-year-old attitude of, you really believe in that stuff? I said, yes, I do. And she goes, oh, you're that guy. She goes, you know, like, we only live in a town of about 2,500. And she goes, you know, people talk about you. And and I said, yes, I know. And I said, but you know what? The majority of those people who talk about me, they've told me their most scary stories that they've ever experienced that they can't tell anybody else. And I said, I'm glad that they told me. So before you judge me, remember, the people telling you who are talking about me, I know their stories.
I think that's beautiful, because every town has stories. And most of the time, if you can be the type of individual that is open and non-judgmental, people will tell you their stories. I was at a function, and I was sitting in front of a couple, and their like teenage son was there, and he was like winning some award or whatever. And they turned around and said, oh, what are you here for? I was like, oh, I do this podcast on the intersection of folklore, science, and history. And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, you know, trying to figure out, like, is the legend of the Bigfoot in this part of the country, you know, based on anything real? Is this other creature based on anything real? Or is it just, you know, like folklore, like a story that gets told to kids to keep them out of the woods at night so the mountain lion doesn't eat them? And the dad goes, I don't believe in any of that stuff. And I was like, that's fair. That's your prerogative. Within 10 minutes, he was telling me about the time he saw a UFO at the beach.
Exactly.
Because he realized I wasn't going to make fun of him. Like, once he realized, like, I wasn't yanking his chain, and I was like, nah, dude, like, this is my bread and butter. He was like, well, this one time.
and those are the best stories. that are out there is these people who are too afraid to tell you because they're too busy trying to be skeptical or to play it down. But once they realize that you're actually serious, when they open up to you, you get some great clues and anecdotal evidence with that. It gives you a great lead on where to go, where to search, what happened, because you can always tie things together. And to me, and I'm sure for you too, I find that exhilarating.
Absolutely. And like, it creates a shared moment between people, right? Like we have this shared experience of like discussing the story. And something that you mentioned to me earlier is you look at these like disparate details across different accounts, and when you start to connect dots and find similarities across accounts, that's exciting, and you don't find that unless you talk to people. So yeah.
You have a background in science. What led you down the scientific route to tie into all of this? Was it of one, or did you just like science and decided to pursue that into this field as well?
So my undergraduate degree is in natural resource science, which is sort of a broad catch-all, like, you know, it's an undergraduate degree. You're not going to be a specialist in geology or, you know, biology or anything like that. So you get a little bit of geology, you get a little bit of plant science, you get a little bit of animal science, you get all those sort of like broad foundations of different natural resources. And then I realized that if you want to go further, you have to specialize and stay in school. And at that time, I didn't want to do that. So I did this degree because I needed to graduate. I needed a degree, right? Like that's just what I had been told. You go to college, you get a degree. This seemed reasonably interesting. I like this stuff. I can study this. So, you know, I got that. Then like just went to work. And a couple of years later, I had taken a bunch of electives in computer science and various technology related fields while studying for my natural resource science degree. So I went to graduate school, but with more of a computer science focus. So that's sort of where it married into tech. So I've got the natural resource science foundation, and then you layer the technology on top of it. That's sort of my background educationally. And what that has enabled me to do is take an informed approach to the environmental factors around phenomena, right? So we know that there's studies that demonstrate that infrasound, you know, audio waves below the human, you know, capacity for hearing, if I think it's like 18 hertz. There's been a few peer-reviewed studies where it can like influence people's minds. So like that's something that I was able to read and understand, and it can like set people at ill at ease, right? It makes people feel uneasy. But a more practical, hands-on thing that I've been able to take from it, I'll relate it to North Carolina. So we have a patch of dirt called the Devil's Tramping Ground, and the folklore around this is that, you know, it's basically like an elevator straight to hell. And the reason that nothing grows on this patch is because Satan comes up from hell and paces in a circle on this spot, and that's why nothing can grow there. So I went out and took soil samples and then tested the soil and then tried to plant some plants in the soil. So I was able to like take things that I had learned and apply it to like exploring the folklore and legend. So that's sort of how I leverage it. But why I studied it was just because it seemed kind of interesting and an easy way to get a degree. Easy for me. It clicks for the way my brain works. It's kind of it.
Yeah. You know, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. The best part about it is you're able to tie it in to what you're chasing down now. Do you have a favorite?
Favorite cryptid?
Yeah.
I have an entire favorite genre of cryptid, which is sea monsters. And I know that's very broad, but for me, it's the most feasible cryptid type that will be discovered in my lifetime. The ocean is just so vast, and you know I think what's the old adage is that it's less explored than the moon. if you look at the total sum of the ocean. So I love the sea monster stories, like giant sea serpents and the, you know, plesiosaur style looking sea monsters out there. That's my favorite genre of cryptid.
I hate the sea. Scares the daylights out.
Oh, I hate the open water. I don't like getting in the ocean. But I love sea monsters. Put me on a boat with a life vest and I'm okay, but don't put me in the water.
I will tell you right now, if you want to see Megalodon come to life, make me swim in the ocean, because that's the time, with my luck, okay, that's the time that I know that Megalodon will come make his famous reprisal of being the most dominant species in the ocean. I'm serious about that. I'm not even joking. It scares the daylights out of me thinking of what's in the ocean, man. You know, I don't even go into lakes. I live in an area, this is true. I live in an area where within 1 hour circumference of where I am right now at SOR headquarters, there are over 500 lakes within an hour's drive. And guess how many I've been in? One. I
was going to say, you've been to at least one.
I've been in one. I've been to a number of lakes, but actually going in the water? Oh, no. Oh, no. That's just wrong, because if anything, I live about a 5-hour drive from the ocean, maybe 6-hour drive from the ocean. But I know that's going to be the time when I'm swimming in a lake, doing my thing, having fun, and all of a sudden that shark fin comes up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm smart enough at 51 years old not to take that chance, Charlie.
Sure. I don't blame you. I also don't like. So this is a joke with Brittany, one of the co-hosts on Lost Monster Files. She's scuba certified. Her and her husband go scuba diving. They're into it, right? And she was telling me, like, oh man, we should do this and we should do that and we should get some scuba gear. I was like, you can? I'm not doing that. Like, no, I'll be on the boat. So
that's even questionable for me, man.
It's got to be a big boat. I don't like little boats.
Yeah. And it's got to be bigger than any great white shark.
And I want to be able to see land. That's another thing. I want to be able to see the land. But that's part of why the ocean is so cool to me, is that, like, I talked about the wonder of looking up at the stars and being like, wow, like, obviously the universe is more expansive than, you know, Earth's oceans. But it's a similar feeling when you look out on the ocean and you're like, well, there's nothing from here to Africa, based on the coast that I'm on. You're like, that's insane. Like, just how much space there is in the ocean for Megalodon, right? You know, plesiosaurs, sea serpents, stuff we don't even know about. I think they found like 6 different new types of fish just last year in the deep sea. Did you hear about these? They're like ultra black, like they like absorb light. Yeah, like that just happened. Like that's like alien stuff, man. Like I love the theory that octopuses are actually aliens. That's fun to me. But like there's stuff down there that we just don't know about, and that's just really cool. Trash Island is one of the comments.
Yeah, I'm not taking the chance.
What?
Not taking the chance. It's just I agree with your theories on that 100%, and I like your outlook, and I think you and I can be friends now on dry land. I really do. I really do.
Yeah.
Never mind the ocean and the lakes and everything. The forests are always extremely vast. You don't really know how big a forest is until you drive into one. And then you get out of your vehicle and you walk in like 15 feet. That's all it takes.
Yeah, you can get I mean, there's unfortunately really sad stories of the big hiking thing where I live is the Appalachian Trail, right? Runs up and down the east coast of the US. And there's tons of sad stories of hikers, inexperienced hikers, going off the trail and just not coming back. Not because of anything nefarious. They get found, They just wandered off the trail a little bit, got lost, and never made it back. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that forests hold a lot of wonder, but for me, they feel. I'm probably gonna eat these words at some point. They feel safer than the ocean. I don't mind going for a walk in the woods and going off trail because if I know how to navigate, I know that I'll be able to get back. I mean, I've gotten lost in the woods, like it's happened, but it's a little easier to navigate.
I got lost in the forest once. And I was literally 200 feet off the logging road in an area at that time I'd been to about 45, 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew what forest disorientation was like until I started mentally hitting that panic button because I had 6 other people with me and I couldn't find our way out. And luckily, a vehicle started coming up the gravel road and I heard it and I was able to all of a sudden click my brain back into, okay, that's the direction we got to go. But it was amazing how quick my anxiety of I'm lost kicked into play in a place that I was familiar with.
Yeah, well, the forests up there, man. Like, so for the show, we went to British Columbia for one of the episodes and we spent, a good bit of time up there. And there would be days where I would be standing out in the middle of the forest in the woods, and you guys had that really thick, like.
Whereabouts were you?
We were near Hope.
Okay, yeah, I know your exact area.
Okay, so just like, if something didn't want to be found in those forests, it wouldn't be found. If you were out there by yourself, like the sound dampening of the just the fauna, the flora, sorry, not the fauna, the flora, sound just dies out there. So like to hear a car, it was good that you were close enough to do that because otherwise stuff just gets absorbed by the trees and the brush and the undergrowth. And yeah, I could see getting lost in that environment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 3 hours north of Hope.
Okay.
And so if you continue to drive through Hope and follow that highway, just turn left before you get to the gas station. That's all I'll say. Then you'll find. But no, on a serious note, as we got about 90 seconds left, you're right, though. I mean, there is a lot of different things out there, man, that we don't even know. Like we go hunting out here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big jokes that we have is that how many animals did we pass that we didn't even see?
Yep.
Like I went hunting on Sunday. I didn't see any deer. I didn't see any bears. I didn't see any moose. I know I'm in their area because I've seen them there before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a single thing. And they were there. That they were watching.
Mm-hmm.
What this vehicle is or who those stinky humanoid things are, but they're out there.
No, absolutely. It's what's funny and related to that. I was just talking. I have kids. I was talking to my kids about that because there's this movie, The Wild Robot, which is based on books, and so we were like reading the book because they saw the movie, they liked that. And in the first book, there's a whole thing about that, how the robot stood there and the robot went through the woods and all the animals hid and the robot saw nothing and knew nothing of what was there. And I'm like reading that passage and that's the way my brain works, is you just said that and I remembered something that I read like 2 nights ago to my kids. But yeah, absolutely.
My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. We're talking monsters, legends, folklore. Charlie Mewshaw is here from Lost Monster Files, and we're going to get into some of his favorite spooky stories with run-ins with cryptids and legends and sea monsters when we return. It's in for a fun night. This is what I love Halloween for, is because we get to talk all spooky and scary. Not as much tinfoil, but that's okay. Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott continues right after this. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, my man, we are clear.
All right.
Clear. Don't forget our audience can hear us on YouTube.
Cool.
Podcast.
Hey, YouTube. Hope you're doing well, YouTube. And
how long were you in Hope for?
I want to say it was like a week and a half.
Yeah. When was
and
that?
That was back in March, maybe February or March.
Oh, you went during the cold, wet time.
Yeah. And what's crazy? No, so we were out there, man, and
yeah,
they whittled down like a week and a half to like a 40-minute show, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
What were you looking for Sasquatch there?
Yeah, we went with so Ivan Sanderson called it the Abominable Snowman. So we went with that branding based on the Chapman family encounter.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the catalyst.
So you went to Ruby Creek?
Yeah, we went all over the area, region area. I don't know how y'all would describe it, but yeah, we were all over the place. It was cool. Yeah. We covered a lot of grounds, and everybody was super nice.
Be honest, when you were in Hope, did you put your head through the painting of Rambo?
I did not, but I did do the self-guided walking tour.
Okay. All right. Because you can't go to Hope without putting your head through the cutout being Rambo.
So I didn't do the cutout. Yeah, I didn't do the cutout, but I did do the walking tour. I had a couple hours one day to myself and was like, oh, all right.
Did you guys go up to Yale?
I don't remember
just
where
up,
exactly.
Just up the highway about 15 miles.
I don't think so.
I've had a couple of strange encounters there. Now, Yale is the place of the legend of Jacko the Child Sasquatch.
Yes, I talked to somebody about that while I was there.
Yeah, and twice. So when you pull into Yale, just before you get into this town, and this town is literally a blink and you'll go through it, they have a rest stop. And usually I stop there because that's your last phone communication for the next 45 minutes.
Okay.
And the one time I was there, I stopped, got out of my vehicle, went to the bathroom, come back out of the bathroom, and there looks to be what I would say a shadow Sasquatch standing on the highway. And it just kind of stepped off and disappeared. It wasn't physical. Like it was a shadow. Like I could see through it. And then about 2 years later, I had at that same rest stop, you know, when you just get the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said, I know you're here. Could you give me a sign? And within like 15 seconds, a big wood knot came from the other side, which is a hill, like a big hill that you'd have to walk up, right? Big wood knot comes from there. I'm like, I knew that. I knew it was there.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
First off, I definitely didn't go to Yale then. Because we would have explored that because we were talking to people about that story in Hope. So no, because we went to different towns, but like when you're shooting, like you don't always know exactly where you're going. In some cases, like somebody else is driving and you're just like, whatever, just get me there. Get me there so I can walk into the woods. You know, but no, I would have known if we went to Yale based on the Jacko. But no, so can I ask you a question about Sasquatch?
Yeah, go ahead. We got about a minute.
Sure. Do you think that there is a mystical element to Sasquatch, like a metaphysical element, or are you more of the it's like a monkey?
100% mystical.
Okay.
I've seen the pixelation, which people would say is Glimmerman, and then got roared at right after that. and that was probably within 100 feet of me and my 3 friends.
Okay.
And I've also, in 2022, we had an encounter with a 10-foot Sasquatch at one of our sites, and it vanished. We don't know how it left. And I was with 2 very, very experienced outdoors people when we had that encounter, and we can't figure out how it left.
Yeah, it's interesting, different people's perspectives based on
We'll
their.
talk about this here coming up here. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Richard, for the super chats. Here we go, everybody. Second half hour, Spaced Out Radio coming underway right now. We are going to get into some Sasquatch talk with our guest, Charlie Mewshaw from Lost Monster Files. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. We are on every major podcast network as well. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Charlie Mewshaw, Lost Monster Files, is here. Going to hit you off with a big question right off the bat. A lot of people like Sasquatch on this show. They love hearing about it.
Sure.
You a flesh and blooder, or are you a woo side?
I am flesh and blood on Sasquatch.
Oh.
So we have a little bit of a difference there. But
we do.
But can I tell you a sort of, I'll meet you in the middle on something. One of my favorite theories.
Not squatch on this field, on this show. Because I know that if the minute someone mentions the word squatch, their research is bogus.
So I love the stories. This is going back to stories from like the 70s and I guess into the 80s, where there's this like correlation of Sasquatch sightings with UFOs. So like UFO comes down, lets a Sasquatch out to go for a walk, kind of bumbles around a little bit, they pick him back up and vanish. I love those stories. I love the idea that Sasquatch is actually like interplanetary, right? And like maybe a couple of them got away when they got dropped off to go for a walk by their alien overlords. But no, I am pretty well in the flesh and blood side, that I think that there's a possibility of some sort of missing link thing going on with them.
A lot of the First Nations of British Columbia believe that there is something unique and special about this creature. And that is something that I take very seriously. But Charlie, the difference between you and I is I'm an enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a journalist. I'm an enthusiast. I'm not a researcher. Like when I go out to our Sasquatch sites, I don't bring cameras. I don't bring a lot of equipment with me. I just want to soak it all in, man. Like you're at the beach with the sun beating down on you, trying to get a tan. I just want to soak up the entire time, having fun and enjoying myself. And if there is a wonderful, wonderful experience waiting for me, I'm good with that. I really am, you know. But that being said, as much as I do lean towards the fact that there could be something unique and special about this, I don't poo-poo the idea that this could be flesh and blood. Okay,
yeah, and likewise, and back at you. I think that's the beauty of the unknown, right? If anybody tells you they have the answer, they're trying to sell you something, because if they had the answer, it wouldn't be unknown.
Well, the funny part about that was I spoke at a Sasquatch conference earlier this year, like a couple months ago. And what was funny about it is the conference was put on by a First Nations person who held it on First Nations land, who had First Nations people setting up their amazing booths with their art. Oh my God, it was gorgeous. And they were talking about the spirituality side of Sasquatch.
Mhm.
And then you had this lineup of scientists speaking on day one, how all of that interdimensional and vanishing acts and everything is just a bunch of malarkey. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you people don't know who your audience is right now,
No.
right? So I come up on Sunday morning, not trying to be the hero of the day or anything, but I come up on Sunday and I said, the truth is, it doesn't matter whether you're Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who was in the audience, or whoever else. We don't know what it is.
Yep.
We don't. We don't have a body. Why can we not find a body? Okay. We have very few hair samples, scat samples, body parts samples, because you know what? Animals in the wild have parts ripped off of them in predator fights all the time, whether it's a wolf's tail, whether they lose the fight and there's a leg right there. You can't tell me that that Sasquatch is about 1,004,0 on their fight record.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I tend to lean on when I encounter people that are extreme skeptics. I tend to approach them with the request to gently consider the anthropological implications of different people across different cultures with no contact, having similar stories and experiences going back to, I mean, if you want to get like super ancient about it, like, you know, there's what could be construed as wild man legends going back to like the Babylonian era. Like, there's a reason these stories persist. It's because people see things, right? The stories would not persist for as long as they have if somebody hadn't been seeing something. Up to the current modern age. So to wholesale dismiss the possibility, I think, speaks to some sort of fear within the individual more so than it does the truth of their statement, because I don't think it's true to say that it's not possible.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know what it is. You know, the problem that we have, and you and I are coming at this on the same path, but from different directions.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that we have is so many of these researchers out there today literally continue to hide behind the word science.
Yeah.
They're using opinion as science. Opinion is great, but you can't cancel out anything until it's disproven. That's science. I stayed away from science as far as I could, my friend, because I was terrible at it. Science and math. I went the history route. I went the journalism route, okay, because that was my forte. But in my minimal, and when I say minimal, maybe the size of the nail of my thumb, knowledge of science, the one thing I do know is opinion means nothing to science.
It should. Yeah.
But it does in our field.
It does. I think where it gets challenging is that you have, so cryptozoology as a field, it's not a field of study, right? Like, it's a branch in on its own. I know that's uncomfortable to say for people that want to be like, yes, it is. In formal recognized academic programs, it's not. Like, that's just a fact. I wish it was, but it's not. It's zoology. It's just zoology and exploring the possibility of animals that haven't been discovered yet. And I think that's where the hang up comes, because you have zoologists that, you know, everybody wants to discover a species, but maybe they want to do it in a safer way that matches their belief structure and avoids things that conflict with their belief structure, potentially by going into things that are unexplained. It's cool to find a new toad, right? But it's safe. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really cool if, like, somebody finds a new toad or a new fish or whatever, but like it puts the researcher at risk Um, should they say, I'm planting my flag on Sasquatch, and this is my life's work. If they are a grant funded, peer reviewed, R1 school zoologist, they're probably not going to stake their career on that out of fear.
Oh, I get that. There's a lot on the line when
Yeah.
it comes to government grants, private grants, or whatever it may be, that can affect the knowledge of what people are studying. I get that. I very much appreciate that. But I just wish that the more of the non-scientific people who claim they're scientists get out of the monkey crap, get out of the squatch crap, just get to the hardcore, whatever your facts are leading you. Your opinion, flush it down the toilet. My opinion of it being more of a woo-filled thing means nothing. That's just a belief system. It's like there's a bunch of people in Washington State who believe Sasquatch are people too of the forest and need voting rights. Okay?
Hey, whatever gets them to come out, that's fine. Just if that's how we discover them.
Well, I understand that, but and I make in jest about that, but hey, I don't personally believe that. But does my opinion matter on it? No, because that's not my experience. That's not what I've had happen. It doesn't mean it hasn't happened to other people.
No, totally. I wish people were more open, but unfortunately there's conflicting interests, and I think that we're living in a really cool time for these types of conversations where we have access to resources. I mean, right now you and I are connected. We're having a conversation. There's a whole bunch of people that are contributing to what's going to continue the conversation. Like, we're able to have this sort of meeting of the minds. We're able to have conventions. People are able to do independent research that doesn't rely on university funding. I'm not university funded. I'm not relying on grants. So I'm not beholden to that sort of structure. But you'll also hear me say, either on my podcast or on Lost Monster Files, you'll hear me say all the time, can't be that because of this. So I liked that. It's a fun theory, but we have to chuck it. And I think that we have that freedom to do that and also explore more possibilities because our livelihood doesn't depend on it.
I got to tell you, man, I agree with you. We got about 12 minutes left before we got to go to break. I want to hear your favorite Sasquatch encounter or story.
I'll start with a weird encounter that I had that I don't know what to attribute it to. But maybe it was a Sasquatch. I don't know. Again, I mentioned this earlier, Appalachian Trail. So I was out doing a couple days hike, camping along the way. Was out with a friend, and we went off the trail to camp because that's one of the beauties of the trail. In most states along the trail, you can camp wherever you want. They have shelters, but you don't have to use them. So we went off the trail and set up a camp. Had dinner, whatever, tied our backpacks up in trees, 25 yards away, pretty far away. I go to my tent. This guy's a real wilderness camper. He's got the poncho on a string and he's laying on the dirt kind of situation. So I'm nice and safe and warm in my tent. I've been asleep for an hour or two. And I know what a bear sounds like. And this wasn't a bear, but it was whatever it was big and came into our camp and was dragging something else large. The closest thing that I can think it sounded like was, when you're dragging you might not know, I don't know, I'm gonna put myself out there. If you're dragging a trash can down a gravel driveway, it's got heft, it's got weight, makes noise. It sounded like that coming right through our camp.
Now, if I can pause you there, I just told a story about a buddy last week, I think, about a buddy of mine who camped overnight. He was an outdoor wilderness prepper kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed the night at this lake that we were fishing. by himself, and he had that exact same thing happen to him on the logging road.
It's freaky. It woke up like that, scared, like in my sleeping bag, like, ah, crap. So I wait till it sounds like it's far enough away, and I whisper to my buddy, I'm like, hey, are you awake? And he just goes, shut up. that was his response, because he heard it too. So eventually I fall back asleep, like probably like an hour later. And in the morning, I'm looking around, like no tracks, no drag marks, no nothing. I'm like, dude, did I dream that? He's like, no, it happened and it was freaky, and let's pack up. Like, let's go get our bags down from the trees. Like, hopefully they're still there. And what we didn't hear was something dragging our bags away. And I was like, no, I don't know what that was. Now in my mind, if I let my imagination wander, I like the idea of a Sasquatch like dragging a deer or something through the camp. But I don't know what it was. As far as my favorite, we'll go with verified, right? Firsthand account. There's a Sasquatch story out of North Carolina, Nobby the Sasquatch. I don't know if you're familiar with Nobby.
Oh, never heard this one.
So Nobby, it's kind of a great story, because there's this guy and he's living out Western North Carolina, and he lives in a trailer, and he's in his trailer and he's watching TV. It's like 3:00 in the morning, and he hears something. His dogs are barking. He's got dogs in like a kennel outside. And there's nobody else around. Like, he lives on the side of a mountain by himself in this tiny town with a population of like nothing. And he looks out and he sees what he thinks is a man. So like messing with his kennel. So he grabs a stick, his like, walking stick, and comes out, and it stands all the way up, and he realizes like, oh no, it's a Sasquatch was messing with his dogs, like trying to get into the cage, and it sees him and he sees it, and he just kind of like pokes at it with his stick and shoos it away. And like neither one of them wanted to have a conflict. It was like, I just think that's such a cool interaction and a cool story. And like, this guy didn't try to sell his story. This guy didn't try to capitalize on it. This was
right
decades ago at this point. Older guy, just like super cool, right? Like the guy came out, saved his dogs, or protected his dogs. The Sasquatch didn't fight. It wasn't like a violent story. It's almost like a misunderstanding between like neighbors, right? I don't know. I like that story.
Oh, I love things like that. Do you ever find areas or stories in the cryptid world, and I'll use that in general, that absolutely make no sense to you regarding what was seen? Because one of the things, I mean, we tend to focus so much on Sasquatch or Dogman. We forget that there are all these other weird, crusty little creatures that are out there haunting the forests.
Yeah, so there's one that a lot of times, if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I chalk it up to folklore. And I'll go with the difference between folklore and cryptids here. And this is something that a buddy of mine said, and it was absolutely brilliant. My friend Michael, that I do Arcane Carolinas with, because I asked him, what's the difference between folklore and a cryptid to you? And his response is something I was like, I'm going to take that forward with me. I'm going to put that in my pocket and carry it with me. Folklore is when you tell a story and it ends with, and you can see it on a full moon every, year on this day, whatever. That's part of a story. It's storytelling. A cryptid account is one that ends with, I don't know, I saw the thing, I don't know what it was, and I haven't seen it since. Like, to me, that's a real cryptid. So there's a story out of, I want to say Minnesota. I could be getting the state wrong. It's one of those states, sort of middle of U.S. where it gets really cold. And the story goes that there's this creature, and it gets chalked up as Native American legend, which I don't necessarily buy. I think it might just be internet copy paste stuff, of a monster that can be seen in the spring breaking up the ice on the river. And it has a horn, and it's got one eye, and it's covered in fur, and it makes a terrible roaring noise as it comes up the river. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all, because in nature, I can't think of off the top of my head any like monoocular animals, like animals with just one big old central eye. And to me, that sounds more like a cautionary piece of folklore. The great roaring noise is probably the ice cracking and breaking up naturally. And when kids would say, "What's that?" You know, the parents say, "Oh, yeah, stay off the ice, stay away from the river during the springtime, or the monster will get you," just to keep them safe. So that's an example of one that doesn't make any sense to me from a nature perspective. Like, that shouldn't exist. And I chalk that up as folklore, as I just described. There are people that will tell you that it's, you know, it's a regional cryptid and I've seen it. And I'm like, okay, I believe you saw something. I don't know what you saw, but I have a tough time with that one.
What's your favorite? We got 3.5 minutes. What's your favorite Dogman story?
Don't throw anything at me. I not a big Dogman fan. I came to a convention with a hot dog suit, and I put the hot dog suit on, and came out and said, "This is the only Dogman I believe in." Which, you know, I'm very skeptical on Dogman, but the Beast of Bray Road is a good one. If you're familiar with that one.
Are you skeptical of the creature that these werewolf things might be in existence?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
definitely in the woo. I think Dogman is too into the woo for me. In that it would have to be some sort of like magical, or I'll use the term metaphysical, some sort of metaphysical explanation, because like the hybridization of humans and dogs, like even as the government, you know, experiment conspiracy, doesn't work for me. Chimeras exist, we know that, but I don't think it would look exactly like that. I'm just not into Dogman. You know, I can't love them all, and that's one of my ones that I just can't get into. I'm sorry if that's a disappointment.
No, I'm trying to think right now, which one can I not get into? Because I kind of like them all. I don't get into the paranormal anymore.
Okay.
I find the paranormal too tedious, too manipulated by silly people.
Yeah. I think that in the paranormal space, you know, as somebody that believes that there's something there, I also recognize that popular culture has influenced what gets repeated as fact. That's just silly. I think I'd love to do a class on how EMF detectors actually work, and why they're not the tool from Ghostbusters, and you shouldn't treat them like that. They might create interesting data points, but they're not you know, they're not a ghost detector.
Yeah, I think my disappointment with ghost hunting is that it created so many psychics. Number one. And number two, I knew that the minute I started interviewing paranormal teams, and I used to love interviewing paranormal teams, but the minute they started talking about science, that they were conducting scientific experimentation into the paranormal with K2 meters, I knew that it was something that I had to personally do some editing in my own brain on what this was. I do believe there are ghosts out there. I'm not sure if there are ghosts or if we are invading different timelines or picking up different timelines in a multiverse. I'm not sure. Maybe it's both. It could be both. But that's where I kind of stick on it. The people kind of ruined it.
I agree with you completely. I know we're getting close to our time, but I yes, there's people like JB Ryan that I look up to, and we haven't had anybody like that in the space in a long time that sort of cuts through the crap.
Charlie, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here in Spaced Out Radioland. Hard to believe we're already an hour in.
That flew by.
Yeah. It's flown by. Charlie, when we get back, I want to hear some of your great stories from your investigations. What have you learned about this? What scares him as well? We haven't asked that yet. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
This is great fun. Thanks again for having me.
Oh man, not a problem. We got about 6 minutes. We're going to turn things over to Dirty Filth here, who draws a bunch of cartoons during the show. And that's a nightcrawler right there. Dirty Filth, do you remember where your microphone is?
Yes.
Okay. We'll be right back, guys.
Okay. So I decided I was going to draw a California nightcrawler oozing around town. What's today? Also, somebody was asking me earlier. Yes, the calendar is complete. Oh boy! If you go to Etsy, just type in "filthy," FYLTHY, should pop up. It's the only thing in the store there. But yes, the 2025 calendar is complete. I had a bit of a snag because the previous calendar company I was using made the calendar smaller width-wise, and it was a whole bunch of specifications and technical mumbo-jumbo garbage that I'm not good in, but my pal helped me out with it. So anyways, all done the calendar, onto the book. That should be out probably before Christmas as well. So yes, just you just think like back in the day, people could just take all their stuff to one place and plunk it on the counter and they'd stick it in a book for you. And now you have to do all this computer stuff. And I don't know. I admire people that are skilled with computers and whatnot. But also the person that I admire the most are people that do the lettering in comic books. I'm just rambling away here. I apologize, everybody. Let's go see what the comments are doing here. Hello, Joe, Brown Dwarf, Mr. Rob G. Oh, yes. Instagram is too as well. Thanks, Mr. Thanks, Brown Dwarf, mister. Yes. Yeah, all super chats go to buy pants for the Fresno Nightcrawlers. I think they're the most interesting thing because there's only ever been a couple like videos of them, and they just look like walking pants. And I always figured, you know, he could hide in a pair of pants hanging on a clothesline, and nobody would ever know. Actually, I think I have a cartoon of that. Let me just flip through the old library here. Look at a stack of cartoons. Probably just crush the average man if it fell on him. Yeah. Oh, hello, Tim and Beard. Because it's two separate entities. Oh, there we go. There he is. Let me get my little cover there. There he is. Nightcrawler hiding in plain sight. Mothman can't even see him. And the kid left his hockey stick in the backyard. Thank you, Cat Tongue. I appreciate it. They try to get into your pants. There's probably some kind of joke about that. Oh, hey, look at that. I forgot to put some. I forgot a little bit of brown in this cartoon here back. Luckily, I haven't scanned it yet. Quick edit right on the job. Look at that sneaky maneuver. Only the people that's seen that will know. You know what, Jay Truth Seeker? I've walked on homemade wooden stilts before. They're pretty painful. covered in splinters and you're bleeding all over and trying to hold on, and then you tumble over and you fall 16 feet into the neighbor's yard, and there's an angry dog man there, just shreds you up. Hate when that happens.
I like how
Let me go back. Let me go back to the original one there, Dave. I was talking about Nightcrawler and hiding in pairs of pants and stuff.
Okay. You know, we know you like to swap pants every now and again.
What a time to be alive.
It is a good time to be alive.
All right, Dave. You have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Just like that. Say hi to Blob for us.
Good night, Dave.
Good night. Don't forget, everybody, Sweet Robbie G will be covering me tomorrow night on Halloween, as One will be his guest. Yeah. Spooky stories, Halloween readings. It'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun. Sweet Robbie G tomorrow night. And we're going to have some fun. Charlie's here, though. Got some good stubble going on. High and tight. Very nice. Vera, how are you? All right. Thank you to Joe and Richard and Carla and Simon from Australia for the great super chats tonight. We really do appreciate the love and support. And I am going trick-or-treating tomorrow. Yes, I'm taking my son. So it'll be fun. And then I got my final ghost tour tomorrow night at the museum. And here we go, everybody. Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Legends of Folklore with Charlie Mewshaw continues right after this. My name is Dave Scott. This is Spaced Out Radio. We're glad to bring it to you. I want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Metaphysics. Metaphysics is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Charlie Mewshaw is here tonight. We're having a great time with Charlie as he's from the Lost Monster Files. Charlie, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. You have sat there. You have been in the field. You have looked at all sorts of cryptids, legends, and folklore. And there's so much folklore out there regarding whether it's stories like the Headless Horseman. You know, it's Halloween, so we got to mention that one.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, that many people believe the Jersey Devil is a folklorish creature. Puckwudgies and many others. Out of all the folklore that you have heard over the years, you know, what do you attribute this to, first off? And second, why do we believe it?
Well, the Jersey Devil is actually, I did like a hour and a half long podcast episode on the history of the Jersey Devil. So I can talk about that for a really long time. It actually started as kind of pre-internet flame wars, where people would send pamphlets to each other and or write letters in almanacs and stuff. And Benjamin Franklin had beef with somebody else, and Benjamin Franklin is tied into the legends of the Jersey Devil, and it started because he wanted to give somebody else a hard way to go and make fun of them. But anyway, I digress. My favorite. What was it? My question was what? Sorry, I got distracted. ADHD. My favorite one. Jersey Devil's a good one. I think probably the one that resonates or really scares me the most is any kind of folklore that involves a person. That, you know, there's the crazy person, lives on the hill, and they're still there today. And I think that we believe this kind of stuff, monsters and beasts and ghosts and whatever flavor of folklore you're into. I think we believe it for any number of reasons depending on the person. I mean, you and I talked a little bit about why I'm motivated by cryptozoology, and it's hope, right? Hope that there's still something out there to be discovered. And I think for some people that's what it represents, right? It's a story that ties into their beliefs that there could be something more than the mundane. For other people, they probably believe it because they're scared of whatever that story is. Maybe it originated as a cautionary tale and they're scared and it sticks with them. So yeah, I think that depends on the person and what motivates them.
Do you look at a lot of these tales as just old wives' tales like Bloody Mary or tulpas that have been created that we put energy into?
So my whole shtick is this, is figuring out where did the story come from first, right? Like understand the people, the region, where the story started, when did it first start? And can you authenticate pieces of the story? Like if this ghost is supposed to haunt the side of this mountain because he was murdered, because a man was murdered there. Did this man exist? Let's look at the verifiable history of the details of the story and see if we can find something out that we can sync up with the folklore. And then look at the cultural influences of the time that the story first appeared. And is it like a pop culture thing that just got repeated over the years with a little bit of embroidery added and changed from generation to generation to generation, kind of like the Vanishing Hitchhiker tales? We had Vanishing Hitchhikers when there was horse and buggies. Now we have them when there's cars. But no, I'm always open to explore things from that perspective. Go back as early as possible, verify as much as you possibly can to try and prove that it exists. That's my approach. I want to prove that stuff exists. I don't want to write stuff off as wives' tales or tulpas. I want to, which is fascinating in its own way. I want to verify that stuff exists. So I've been called a debunker in the past because of my approach to these stories, but I kind of view it the other way. Like, to use a pretty hack phrase at this point, like I really want to believe, like I really want it to be real, like I want to do the research and like do the field work and like dig through history to verify as much as we possibly can about these stories, because I want them to be real.
What's the problem with belief? I struggle with the source of a story. I'm open to belief if I'm not being sold a bill of goods, right? Like, here's a good example. There's a story out of Wilmington, North Carolina about a haunted house. And this story gets told as fact. And this story has all kinds of dates and names woven into it. And it sounds very, very believable. But as soon as you pull land use records for the city of Wilmington, you can see that none of the dates work. They're all off by decades. You look into birth records, death records, census records. The people didn't exist. The whole thing was made up. So then you start going through library searches. And it turns out that somebody wrote it in a collection of ghost stories, which is fine. And then they started telling it on a ghost tour that they give, which is fine if it wasn't being presented as historical fact. And that's my fear, is getting duped. I think we've all been duped at one time or another in our lives by a story or something. And that feeling sucks. And I don't want that feeling for something that I place on such a high pedestal, which is the unexplained and the supernatural. Like, I don't want to fall for charlatans because I believe that there is stuff out there. I don't want to fall for stories that are fake. And I get that, but that's in every field though, man.
Totally.
It doesn't matter whether you're an NFL football fan or you're a Days of Our Lives fan, or, you go watch the Silverhairs get mad at bingo on a Thursday night. I mean, there's still belief or there's still, storytelling in everything that you do. It's just human
Sure.
nature.
Yeah, and I acknowledge that, and I think that's why I like to get to the kernel of truth at the heart of it.
Okay, so the majority of evidence that we have is anecdotal.
Yep.
And I understand there's three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth down the middle.
Mhm.
I do get that. I do believe that. But not everybody's telling a story, man. And I'm not saying
No.
that it's a shot
Yeah.
to you. Don't take it that way, please.
No. And I agree with you. I mean, we talked in the last hour about how it's important to be open, right? And listen, give people space to share their story. And I'll accept your story and your experience, but I want to validate it. Maybe
Okay.
that's the science part, validation.
To that, and I love that that you want to validate it. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But and I'm not saying blind belief here, but what's wrong with just taking it as it happened? Is it coming from a scientific mind? Is that a little too dangerous on the subject matter?
Maybe that's where it comes from. It's just the way I'm wired, man. I don't know. I'm big on acknowledging that people process information and experiences differently. Because we do. And for me, the quest, that makes it sound really dramatic, doesn't it? Like I have a sword. The drive to validate comes from a good place. It comes from I need this to be real. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with accepting somebody's story as a story. I would need to experience it for myself, or at least be able to validate it with science.
So you want it tangible for yourself, because here's the problem with evidence today.
Yeah,
you can't trust a video, you can't trust audio, and you can't trust a photograph. So what's evidence? What's proof?
Well, I will say that you can validate. So, like I said, I have a master's degree in cybersecurity, which involves digital forensics. I'm actually able to use certain tools to determine how and when files are manipulated. And I have that training and certification. So in that case, I can and do poke at evidence. But I hear what you're saying. And I think defaulting to humble or empathetic skepticism is good, where give people space to present their evidence and their stories, be willing to poke at it a little bit. If you don't have the skill set or the resources to poke at it a little bit, understand what you just said and that it could be manipulated, and just keep an open mind.
I talk to a lot of people on a weekly basis, including our audience members who will message me. And the one thing that I find as an experiencer, I'll take my journalist hat off for a second, put my experiencer hat on. The one thing that I think a lot of people who are skeptical do complain about, the skeptical people, I should say, and I didn't word that very well, I apologize. But I think the one complaint that the experiencers have is the skeptics don't think that the experiencers are skeptical at all regarding what's happened to them. And yet the majority of people, I'm not saying you, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No. I think you're making a really good point.
But I think if I use myself as an example, when I've had something strange and weird happen, I'm always looking for logic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for that logical answer on what are the possibilities. Like, for instance, when in 2023, when we were at Flight 21, the plane crash site that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
we had an encounter where we got growled at by a Sasquatch from our base. That was at our base camp. We were 50 yards from it, at about a 90-degree angle, and 50 yards from it. And when I was looking, thinking bear, not Sasquatch, bear, and looking through the trees towards where our camp was, as we were scuttling back because we had, $30,000 worth of camera equipment there, I saw something in the forest. And it was matte colored brown. It was big. My first question is, it was their hair? No, there wasn't. The sun was shining off of it. And what makes the color brown? Green, orange, yellow. And the way the sun was hitting the left side of it, it was shining off that brown, turning it different color, which made that metallic. And as I was pointing that out, the remainder 6 of my team actually saw an alien walking through the trees, about a 6-foot gray. And the point that I'm getting at with this is, for most of us, I'm not saying all, because there are a lot of blind believers out there, but for the majority of people out there, we do try and be skeptical, and try and use logic before all of a sudden thinking, whoa.
Right. No. And I think you put it beautifully earlier. We're on the same path coming from different ends. And I think where we meet in the middle is the value in firsthand accounts, right? There's tremendous value in firsthand accounts. Where I don't want to be fooled, because I have been fooled, is the individuals that are looking to, for lack of a better word, sell something. And I don't mean financially. Profit off shadiness. Yeah, in some way. Like the fake psychics that you were mentioned earlier. And I've had plenty of people come up to me at conventions and try to tell me they need to come on my show because they have this experience. And I listen to them for 5 seconds and I'm like, I've read that on Reddit too. Like you, like I know that one, and I know it's not you because you just changed the location. So I guess that's where it comes from. But yeah, I think there's tremendous value in firsthand experiences, and what drives me is finding validation to attach to those firsthand experiences as a third party, if that makes sense, right? Yes. And sometimes I can't. That doesn't invalidate the person's experience. It just means I can't write down like, and this was verified with these facts. It just means this is an awesome story that I believe this person had this experience. There's plenty of stories like that where I'm like, I know this guy had an experience. I know this lady had an experience. Like, I believe them. Can I prove it? No, but I believe them. They're a credible witness, I guess. And that's part of what we do on Lost Monster Files, actually, is we talk to witnesses in every episode. And we have a colleague on our team, Tracy Walder, who's a former CIA and FBI agent. And one of her main functions is to like validate the credibility of a witness and say, like, we might not be able to prove they saw what they saw, but this person's not lying, which is awesome.
I love it. I love it. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. And I do love the way you're coming at this. I really do. I know I'm pressing you a little bit here, but
no, you're not at all. This is great. Are you kidding me? I love having conversations like this.
Let's get to a story here. Okay.
Sure.
Because we have 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. From the Lost Monster Files, we have Charlie Mewshaw here tonight as our guest. What's your thoughts then? Or do you have any encounters that have been shared to you regarding sea monsters? You love the sea monsters. Do you believe that there is a champ in Lake Champlain? Do you think there's sea monsters in the Great Lakes? Is it just an oceanic type creature we haven't discovered yet?
So the word monster for me is fun but problematic because I think anything that we haven't discovered, I think any of the creatures that you just named would not be a monster. They would be an animal, right? I'd view it as an animal, not a monster. And that's returning the zoology to the forefront of the cryptozoology for me. There is off of it's southeast of Wilmington, North Carolina. I know that going back to the well here on Wilmington, but it's a weird town. Where there historically in the last 120 years have been reported sightings documented in ship's logs, radioed into the Coast Guard of ships seeing and in one encounter actually hitting something described as just a gigantic sea serpent. And I'm not talking about like an oarfish. This thing like had a neck with a head, like the classic plesiosaur body style. And this one ship hit it. It was the Tresco encounter, the SS Tresco, if you want to look that up. It was a really cool one. So that's probably my favorite aquatic cryptid. When you start getting into like Lake Champlain, Loch Ness, Great Lakes, of those, I think the Great Lakes are probably the most likely spot for there to be some sort of cryptid, just due to the space, right? I mean, the sheer volume of the lakes can afford lots of strangeness.
How can a lake have a sea monster?
Well, it'd just be an aquatic animal. That's the thing when we take the word monster out of it and take the word sea out of it. A large aquatic animal that hasn't been discovered yet. So we have a lake monster in just outside of Charlotte. It's in Lake Norman, Normie. It's a giant sturgeon. The thing is huge, but it's a sturgeon. So there could be a mutation, some sort of hybrid. Maybe somebody let something go a long time ago that shouldn't have been there. The really fun theory is that like stuff got trapped in there years ago when there was still like open ocean and has just been thriving under the radar. Like that's a fun theory too. But less likely for me than either something got dumped in there that didn't belong and it became an apex predator and is just living its best life. And every now and again we see it. Hybrid or mutation due to either nature or impacted over generations by pollution.
See, I live close to Okanagan Lake. It's about a 4-hour drive south. And there's obviously the Ogopogo there that everybody has heard of. When you do the history, and this is my skeptical side coming out now. Look at me. I'm going to put my skeptic's hat on now. I'm carrying a lot of hats today. I believe it's a white sturgeon because Okanagan Lake is the start of the Columbia River, which eventually splits Washington and Oregon State. And the sturgeons swim up the river to breed and lay their eggs in Okanagan Lake. And I think that knowing that the white sturgeon can literally, they never stop growing. They live for about between 110 and 160 years. Yeah. I think that's what people are seeing. I really do.
I mean, they look like dinosaurs, and that doesn't make it less cool. Like, that's the thing that, like, I'm always telling people, like, it doesn't make it less cool. Like, it's still awesome.
Oh, I would agree with you. Totally agree with you on that. But I think, though, that we want to have that love with things that are scary. We want to be scared. This is why I wonder if a lot of researchers actually want to find the answers. Because once the answers are found, there's nothing left to really dig into.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out. I see you there in the chat. Hey, thanks for coming. Yeah, awesome that you still have the quarterlies. I wish we could have kept doing those. Sorry.
All right, right there. I'm going to get you to hold on, Charlie, because we got a half hour left with Charlie Mewshaw tonight from Lost Monster Files. We're having a great time. We're going to continue the Monster Talk. Audience questions next on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, man. We're clear.
Sweet. Yeah, no, dude, you're not pressing me at all. This is fun. I'm having a blast. Don't feel like you're pressing me at all.
Okay. That's cool. Thank you. Because I do like to have a modicum of respect for my guests when they're on. I'm not one of these aha caught you type podcast hosts, right?
No, I appreciate that. I've had people get up and walk out on me for saying outlandish shit. So I get it. Oh, wait, not supposed to cuss. I'm sorry.
We're on breaks. That's okay.
Okay. All right, cool.
It's just in between time. We're in between periods here.
Excellent.
I should say.
Yeah, I had some people get mad at me at a convention once because the whole panel was let's get weird, and I was like, I think we're an experiment by some sort of higher consciousness that we're not aware of. I think that we're essentially an alien ant farm. Somebody was like, oh, and like got like really mad and offended, and I was just like, I mean, the door's right there if you want to leave. And then they did, and I was like, oh, I was like, sorry. So the challenging questions are not pressing in my mind.
Yeah, I do my best.
It's fun.
It is fun having these discussions.
Yeah, man.
It's very fun.
So you do this 5 days a week?
I do, my man.
That's awesome. And you're having Brian on, Brian Niffle in a week or two. He was one of the producers on Lost Monster Files.
Let me check our schedule here. Go into November. Oh, Brian Niffle, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He was one of the producers on the show. You'll like him.
Nice. Makes it more fun.
Yeah.
More fun. I like fun.
Yeah. Charlie, are you in the North Carolina area? I am. I've talked about that a lot.
Excuse me.
Disclosure for dollars.
That's right, my friend. Disclosure for dollars.
It's fun.
Yes. Have you been following the UFO flap here?
Yeah, Lou's thing got debunked, but I think he handled it well. His response was fine. It was just like, this is why we have to validate. I'm like, okay, Lou. Lou's Clues. We're playing Lou's Clues again.
Oh, I am having a little bit of a pissing contest with his PR firm right now.
Why?
They screwed us. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. They about a month before the book came out, they wanted us to interview him on like a couple days after the book came out. Mm-hmm. Then they started playing the delay game, and then I wouldn't hear from them for 2-3 weeks at a time. And then all of a sudden it's like, we don't know when he's going to come on or if he's going to come on. And I was just like, so about a week and a half ago, I actually emailed them back and rescinded my interview request, citing that their lack of professionalism in doing so.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
People keep asking me about Brittany's hair. I've seen that question pop up several times.
Is that Brittany Barbieri?
Yeah.
Yeah, she got good hair. She got good hair. We
Very
like
long.
good hair. Here's one thing about our show you don't know. We like good hair around here, and we like a
Nice.
good bearded mustache combination.
Oh man, my beard was much bigger yesterday. Ugh.
Yeah, I got my hair cut yesterday. Just like 4 of them. This is a wig. Hi, Steve Wolf. How you doing? We got about 35 seconds here, my man.
Sure.
Thank you tonight to Ozzy Simon, Carla, Richard, and Cosmic Joe for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support, guys. Don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can wear our stuff out in public and actually be proud to wear it to more places than just a garage sale. Yeah. It's true. You can't make this stuff up, man. You cannot make it up. All right, 5 seconds. Here we go. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Final time tonight from the Lost Monster Files. Charlie Mewshaw is here. Good high and tight beard on this guy. That's why we like him. Charlie, welcome back.
Thanks, man. Having a blast.
Let's go get some audience questions. Mike is asking, if you had the money to send in a poop sample of Bigfoot, what institute or scientist would you trust sending it to?
I would go with a public state university. Take your pick of one with a good animal science program. UNC. I'll keep it local.
Do you think that there are enough scientists, whether it's in anthropology or one other field, that is really, really pushing the limits outside of Dr. Jeff Meldrum?
Nothing really springs to mind that I'm aware of. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. I'm just speaking from my experience, but no, I don't. So my day job is at a university, and I don't see it on a day-to-day basis or hear about it. So no.
All right, let's move on.
Sorry, that was kind of a downer, right? I'm like, no.
Moving on here because nothing to see here, folks. Chief Wiggum here.
Yeah,
Chief Charlie.
that was not a great answer for entertainment. No, like I could have elaborated more.
Well, it's late for you. Mike is asking another question. Have you ever looked for the New Jersey Devil, and what do you think it is?
Yes, actually, if you go back to September 4th, 2022 in the Arcane Carolinas podcast feed, you can listen to a 90-minute exploration of the Jersey Devil. I think that the Jersey Devil, as it currently exists, when people believe they are seeing it, it is a sort of collective consciousness construct.
Like a tulpa.
Yeah. Like my buddy Mike he's a piney. That's how he would describe himself. He's from the Pine Barrens, and he says everybody's seen him. Like, what it is, I don't know. It's just always a shadow in the corner of your eye. So,
see, to me, they look like just a large rat.
So what Mike's experience has been is, and I'm speaking for him because he said that I could record him, and I did when he shared his experience, is that there's the cartoon, but that's very much based on the Benjamin Franklin connection that I mentioned earlier. So the collective, that the well-known image is it all ties back to that. So yeah, I think what people see now is a tulpa.
All right. Let us go to another question here. Let's go to Mr. NHI. Can a living bipedal descendant of a dinosaur be living in the earth? Your honest opinion.
In the earth?
On earth.
I would probably not, is my opinion. Unless it was very, very small. I just don't think that when we think about the size of dinosaurs, when we think of dinosaurs, I don't think that something that large, cold-blooded, with the dietary needs could live if they were cold-blooded, right? Maybe it wasn't. But no, my gut take is no.
Necessary Dialogue is asking, do you try and get pictures of Sasquatch? What kind of cameras do you use?
Yeah, so for Lost Monster Files, which airs on Discoveries Wednesday nights at 9, I got it in. I got the date and time in. For the show,
I'm just going to clap for you for that shameless self-promotion there. I love it. Good job.
So for Lost Monster Files, obviously we have camera crews, we have trail cams. You know, the network is very gracious in giving us all of this equipment, thermal cameras, IR, drones, everything. So on an official investigation, those are the resources that we use. So personally, if I'm out in the woods, like on an adventure, hoping to see something, I don't take anything with me other than my phone.
That's all I take. And my thermal.
Yeah.
That's only because I take my thermal just so I could say I have a thermal.
I have a thermal. I am equipped. I'm prepared. I'm like a good Boy Scout.
That's all. No, that's the truth, man. For my birthday a couple of years ago, I was searching Facebook Marketplace, and I found a handheld thermal. Guy had never used it, and he sold it to me for like $300 Canadian. And I was like, I'm all in on that. That's like $1,000 machine right there.
Yeah,
I'm all in on that. So now I can brag. I'm a thermal guy.
it's awesome.
Yeah. I don't even know how to use the damn thing except to look through the little lens. But hey, I'm a thermal guy.
Thermal equipped.
You got that right. All right, let's go to Grandizer here. Charlie, you said dinosaurs with aquatic cryptids. Can you briefly touch on any dinosaur cryptids around the world that pull your attention and why? Also, shed any light on these dino cryptids.
So I actually really struggle with dinosaurs. That's more of a theoretical thing that I think it would be cool. I think that if there is going to be anything that would fall under the classification of dinosaur, right? It will, and it's still around. It would have to be aquatic, just because of how much of the earth is covered in water and how much of the ecosystem is there to shelter things from harsh above water weather and atmospheric conditions. Specifically, let's see, and pull my attention to why. So the classic plesiosaur shape. I have this memory of I don't know if you had this experience, Grandizer 12, but we used to get this thing. It was like a newspaper for kids, and it was like every Friday you'd get it at school. And I like have this memory of them pulling something like that out of the water in China, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And that kind of ignited that for me, where I was just like, oh man, there's still plesiosauruses. Is there actually? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. That'd be cool. That's my answer.
What is your thoughts on Makili Babembe then?
I struggle with that one. I think somebody read a bunch of Michael Crichton. I struggle with that one, man. I understand that there's a lot of the Congo that we haven't really explored. and is untouched. So I think it would be cool, but this goes back to the previous answer of when you start getting into animals of that size, for it to have survived to now, I don't know that it could do it on the surface of the planet. Under the water, maybe, but on the surface of the planet, probably not.
With the currents of the rivers that run through the Congo, I can't see that being an aquatic creature. I really can't.
I struggle with that one. I know that disappoints some people because it's cool.
With the lack of understanding of what is in the ocean, do you think then something like Loch Ness monster is potentially real?
I would love for it to be. Loch Ness is I think Loch Ness is a tough one. I think that's been pretty well examined. So that one is out for me. Sorry, I feel like I'm being a real downer today. Like, I do believe in the possibility of these creatures.
Look, you're just telling your knowledge, man. You're sounding way too Canadian, and you're not in your North Carolina right now. You know,
Yeah.
apologizing every couple of minutes. Don't take away my words, man.
All right. I'm sorry, that's your word.
There he goes again. You know what? We're never bringing this guy back on.
He apologizes way too much.
Yeah, stealing a Canadian apologies. Just he throws them around like they're nickels.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I just I want people to be excited about the possibilities because I want the possibilities to be real. Some of them are just tough to swallow, is all.
How much stock then do you put into a legend, especially First Nations legends, where people say they have seen Thunderbirds? Okay, Thunderbirds look much different than a condor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
and condors are huge.
Yeah. Can I give you my theory on Thunderbirds? Because I'm all in on Thunderbirds. So you have people across massive amounts of geography with different essentially Thunderbird legends, right? And we know that birds, migratory birds follow weather systems, weather patterns. So I have this theory that Thunderbirds exist. Thunderbirds used to be a lot more prevalent and were seen regularly on migratory patterns, and the legends were created, passed on. They became a part of belief system. Eventually, due to ecological factors and time, as the population of Thunderbirds dwindled, they began being seen less and less as migratory birds. Therefore, as generations go by, what used to be normal, a couple generations go like, oh yeah, it's migrate o'clock, spring, whatever season, and here comes those big birds, and then a generation goes by, maybe they only see one or two, and then another generation goes by, maybe they don't see one. But maybe what we're experiencing now with people seeing Thunderbirds is weather patterns shift and change in the globe, is a reverse extinction event where Thunderbirds are doing well and coming back. That's my going theory, is that Thunderbirds exist. They're migratory birds, and areas where they maybe once were more prevalent, their reduction over generations led to them becoming more of a cryptid instead of them just being accepted as there's these big birds that, that's a big bird.
Now, when you say big birds, what size bird are you talking about here? Because a lot of people who think of Thunderbird think of a bird that's like 30 to 40 feet long with a 40 plus foot wingspan.
Sure. And so when you get into the size of a bird, you have to take into consideration, like there's four forces working against a bird's body in the air at all time, right? You've got, lift and thrust and drag, and, you basically, like, they have to have certain aerodynamic qualities. They got to weigh a certain amount. Their wings have to be so big to support that weight. They can't, a bird that large has to jump off a cliff to get started to fly, right? So I think that the possibility of them being that large, the 30 to 40 feet, is probably a stretch physiologically. And people are seeing very large birds, bigger than a condor. Like golden eagles, like the biggest eagle, maybe a little bit bigger than a golden eagle, but not 30, 40 feet. I just don't think the physics work.
See, can I give you my theory on it if you don't mind? Would you
Sure.
be okay with that?
Yeah.
I have a different approach. I don't think that the Thunderbird is real in the 30 to 40 foot category because that would paint a car, man, with its droppings.
Yeah.
That would paint a side of a building. It would even paint a side of a forest. The nest alone would be massive.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking probably at a 30, 40 foot bird. You're probably looking at a nest about half the size of a baseball diamond on the infield.
Right.
And we don't see those.
No.
We don't
Yeah.
find those. So here's my theory on it. I think that people who have seen it, I believe that there are these little matrices that happen that allow us to stare back in time when everything was bigger.
Mhm.
And that people are actually getting a network replay of these Thunderbirds flying in the sky when they see them.
Cool. Kind of like stone tape theory of the sky.
Yes. You know? And, you know, if you're in a multiverse, if you believe in the multiverse theory, that's where it makes sense, because with all the timelines running at once, we could be looking back 100,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, and actually seeing this. That's why when you hear these people talk about having experiences with little raptors or mini T-Rexes in the northern part of Texas, I often wonder. Or the people who claim to see the pterodactyls flying from New Zealand across the ocean.
It's cool stuff. Like Thunderbirds. And the thing about Thunderbirds is I like that you prefaced it with the origins of the term, right? Because it has, through pop culture, come to mean so much more than that. And it covers any big flying thing that we can't, identify. Like pterodactyls get called Thunderbirds in South Carolina. 350. 350. I like that comment. So I think that you raise a very interesting theory, and I like it. And it also touches on that thing where on the internet everything's a Thunderbird if it's big and we don't know what it is and it flaps its wings.
I just find it interesting. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's get to another question here. And let's go to necessary dialogue. Are you planning on investigating in the Amazon at any time?
If you tune into Lost Monster Files on Discovery Wednesdays at 10 p.m., maybe we'll get a second season and they'll send me to the Amazon. But otherwise, my day job will not send me to the Amazon.
No, I know that feeling, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go there. Lots of stuff wants to kill you there, too. I would sooner with a mountain lion than a jaguar.
Yeah, the devil right? It's like, I know how to behave around these woods. I don't know how to behave in those woods.
Yeah, let's see. Piranha, not a fan of those. Arampaya, not a fan of them. They eat you. Caimans, crocodiles, alligators. I'm even scared. I'm just scared. Yeah, then you got to deal with the anacondas.
Right. I was going to say, don't forget
and the boa constrictors and pythons. Right. And
like I said,
literally the cannibalized tribes there.
All right, you're not selling it, but I'll still say that if they send me, I'll go. But I'm gonna need
I've gone on the ayahuasca trip there. That's the only reason.
Yeah. It's the Amazon's like, what IQ would you give to Bigfoot? I have no idea how to quantify that.
I think it's brilliant. I honestly believe they are brilliant.
Yeah, I believe they're smart. I don't know what number on the IQ scale I would give them. I think they're probably close to people.
I'm going with 42, since it's the answer to everything. 42. right? Luna is wondering, have you ever seen a seraphim or cherubim angel?
I have not. No.
Just bluntly. Screw you.
Sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I've been up some.
Lavira is wondering, Charlie, why do you have such a problem with Dogman, but other cryptids are possible?
Yes, let's do this. Let's talk about this. This is a fun one. So when you start to get into stories of like half person, half beast, right? Like goat man and sheep man and dog man, I'm pretty much out from the mundane animal explanation. I think that these types of hybrid creatures that have persisted throughout mythology and religious imagery, and just, fairy tales also for millennia across different cultures. There's something there. Like, don't get me wrong, there's something there. Like Pan, like figures like fawns and like all these creatures have existed across different cultures. Why is that? And they kind of fall almost into the more, I don't want to use the word spiritual, but like they're almost more like religious related, because the way genetics work, like we can't create the island of Dr. Moreau is fiction. We can't have a half man, half dog by hard scientific means that we currently have. It just doesn't work genetically. But if you like start leaning into the mystical side and like, what if these are more mystical creatures? Like, then it's a possibility, right? You can explore that conversation. However, that takes it completely out of the realm of cryptids. Cryptids for me are tied in cryptozoology, where zoology needs to take precedence. I hope that answers the question. I'm not like hating on the concept of like, boo, dog man. It's more of a joke. Like the only dog man I'll believe in is a guy in a hot dog suit. It's more that I put them in a different category of strangeness than cryptids.
I do have to say, I'm not a fan of hot dogs anymore. I'll eat them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to shut them out of my life. Amanda is asking, what's your thoughts on mermen and mermaids? I'm a merman. Merman.
For me, this ties into basic kind of what I just talked about. We obviously these legends have persisted. Again, we talk about different cultures across great geographical distances means there must be something there. The manatee explanation, certainly, sure. Like, once the lore is established, then okay, people might be like, oh, I saw a mermaid, but it was a manatee. But where did that lore start? And I actually did a whole bunch of research into this. But I'm very tired and I don't want to mess up the quotes. But there is an episode of Arcane Carolinas called The Siren of the French Broad River, where I explore the history of mermen and mermaids and where they come from in mythology. And I think of them more as mythological or mystical creatures, not cryptids.
We have under a minute here to go with you tonight. And Charlie, this has been a lot of fun. You're a real dude, man. And I mean that with a great compliment. I love how real you are. I love how open you are and that you're open to the possibilities. I'd love to do this again with you. And do me a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your television show, your podcast as well.
Thanks, Dave. So Lost Monster Files airs on Discovery Wednesday nights at 10. It will be on Max in November. All episodes of season 1 will be available on Max. Check out arcanecarolinas.com for my podcast. We've got 120 some odd episodes. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, all the podcatcher services. We don't have the cool video setup. It's just audio, but if you like Dave's stuff, you might tolerate mine.
Hey, bud, thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio. We'll let you go get some sleep. As
Yeah,
hour
thanks,
3
Dave.
kicks off right after this, we have Swamp Dweller, then Tim James here with the UFO Report. We'll be right back, everybody.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great show, Charlie. Great
Dude,
show.
thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
I hope I did you some justice here. Thank you.
Oh man, no, I had a great time. I did feel bad with your audience being like, "What do you think about that?" I'm like, I don't.
Well, it was an honest answer. That's all my audience wants, man. That's all they want. Honest answer.
All right. Well, I hope I talk to you again sometime.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk some woo on your show sometime.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
All right, man. See
All
ya.
right, take care, bud. I like him. Good guy. All right, we'll be right back. right, I'm back. Thank you tonight to Simon, Carla, Richard, and Cosmic Joe for the great super chats. Greatly appreciate that. And yes, it has, Luna. Yes, it has. When you go down the rabbit hole, it's amazing what you gain, but it's also amazing what you lose. And you have to be prepared for that. Most people aren't. All right. Happy Halloween from everybody Mountain Time on East. And remember, people, it doesn't matter how old the kids are. Give them some frickin' candy. All right? Give them some candy. Especially the older kids. The teenagers. Give them some candy. That's a pet peeve of mine, man. 5 seconds, everybody. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Swamp Dweller coming up next, followed up by the UFO Report with Tim James. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is it, Tim?
I don't remember.
Me either. That is your password tonight on the Mighty SOR. Don't forget it. What's the password for?
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. On that note, since I forgot the password, let's get to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hey everyone, my name is Mario, and I am a paranormal investigator. I have only been at this since last July and have yet to experience all the oddities the paranormal offers, but still, I have experienced enough to share some creepy stories. I also know enough about the supernatural to classify my findings. I am baffled, disturbed, and curious all at the same time about a recent anomaly I encountered this past weekend. I attended a paranormal investigation event at the Joseph Philippi Winery in Rancho Cucamonga, California. The evening I had its fair share of weird disembodied voices, footsteps, light anomalies, and even some random apparitions. I'm not really ready to say any of these are definitive proof of existence, as I'm not thoroughly reviewed any of this stuff and I investigate with a level of skepticism, but all those occurrences aside, the one unknown oddity of the evening has left me somewhat disturbed about what I witnessed lurking in the shadows of Alana House, the last area we investigated that night. Let me preface this discovery by stating that while I did see this shadowy creature being with my own eyes, my fiancé also saw the same thing. We kept quiet about it until leaving the building, only stating that we both saw something in there, but not elaborating on what we saw, so as not to influence our descriptions. As we exited the area, the other people in our group walked by when we suddenly saw a lady from our group with her guest, who pulled us aside and began to recount her happenings within the Elena house, as we had investigated. She described hearing, near the end of the investigation, sounds of someone walking behind her in the empty room. Please keep in mind the building is undergoing reconstruction and there are no residents in the house. All that stands are wooden beams in door/window frames. She also described hearing the sound of heavy breathing and said she felt whatever was there was pushing down on her soul. Those were her words, the words she used precisely. She appeared very disturbed and unnerved by the event. We both agreed we had seen something in the house but did not describe anything to each other. With hesitation, mainly due to being dumbfounded by what I saw, we sketched a drawing of the quote-unquote entity. It is so imprinted in my mind that I had to share this experience to see what people think. Hopefully someone else has seen something similar to what I've seen and can share their knowledge. I saw a dark, shaded figure lurking in the darkness just behind our group. We were about 15 people centered in one room in a circle. The creature had elongated, muscular arms, legs with longer than average fingers, toes, and fingernails. Despite its muscular limbs, the torso was emaciated to the point that the outline of its ribs, I put quotes around ribs because I'm not sure if this thing was even human enough to constitute it as a rib cage, was visible. Its head had large, hollow, empty, and dark eye sockets. There were small, empty nostril slits on its face where a nose would be if it were human. Shockingly, the odd deformity of this creature was its mouth. It wasn't even really a mouth at all. It was like this elongated, drooping jaw. It looked like it was melting, like that melting clay with empty spaces in between. It moved in the shadows, just a few feet away from the group, swinging its limbs as it walked like it was striding in a pacing manner. It truly disturbed me. As the days passed, I began questioning what I had seen. Like I said, I investigate skeptically, so I debunked what I could plausibly. I could chalk this up to the darkness playing tricks on my mind, but 2 other people saw the same thing I did. How is that even possible? Why would we all see the same thing and have it be a figment of our imaginations? It just doesn't make sense. I can only hesitantly conclude that I saw some type of shadow creature. Generally, I have understood that shadow creatures don't necessarily take any specific form. If this was some sort of shadow figure or creature, it wouldn't make sense that it chose this weird form. Has anybody else ever experienced something like this? I'm trying to keep some semblance of reality, but I am totally open to what it could be.
All right. Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another great story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller. Hit subscribe, ring that bell. He's got plenty of stories there for you. Time for the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
James is here with the UFO report, and we got some drama in the UFO world. But first, one final ghost tour, my man.
I know. Tomorrow night.
It's coming up. It's going to be a good one.
It will be.
It will be a lot of fun. Lots of people.
Yeah. Halloween's usually a good barn burner. That's not what I'm. Yeah. You get what I'm saying.
It is a good barn burner indeed. Hopefully the barn doesn't burn, though.
Exactly.
Because it could burn. The logs on it are literally about 110 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost 120 years old. So it could burn. Yeah, it's been fun, man.
Yes, absolutely.
It's been fun.
Absolutely.
I have decided that I am retiring after the tour.
Yeah, well, that's, and like I said, you've alluded to that for a bit and wasn't sure, but well, you know what? Time's time. And then Saturday nights, you know what you can be doing now?
I'm going to be out in the forest,
right,
looking for Sasquatch. As I said to good friends, Fran and Phil, who've been guests on this show, I said, you want to find me? I said, everyone's invited.
Yep.
If nobody comes and you're looking for me, that's where I'll be.
Perfect.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The way it is, my man. But thank you for helping out this year.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. You've been doing this for a couple months now.
Yes, I have, sir.
You enjoying it still?
Loving it. Loving it. Yeah, learning lots, watching what's going on with everybody, watching people that have got way more experience than I do. Yeah, and it's feeling sometimes a little bit overwhelmed with the lack of experience doing this, but yeah, I'm loving it. I get enough, just keep getting back up every time I get a little bit down on myself. And yeah, it's all good. And everybody in SOR land has been so fantastic. All the listeners and the stuff, I've been getting great comments and stuff. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I love it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, tonight's your last show, by the way. No,
Oh, is it okay? I'm
yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah, you're fired. You're fired. You're being way too kind right now. No, I'm teasing. You're doing a great job, my man.
Thank you.
I know this because not only has our audience been very complimentary to you,
Yes.
but I've had a number of people in the UFO world actually come up to me and say, "Who's this Tim James guy that's doing your UFO report? He's great."
Oh, right on. That's super cool. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I said, "I don't know who you're talking about."
Yeah, we're not sure about that guy.
Yeah, every time he stiffs me to go hunting.
Here we go.
Yeah, yeah. Honeydew list. Can't go hunting, Dave.
Yep.
Honeydew list.
That's right.
All right, my man. Big drama in the UFO world regarding Lou Elizondo. And this does, and I'm not saying this to pick on Lou.
No. I get
This does not give him a very appealing look right now.
Mm-mm.
No, this is the very, very weird, strange story.
Yeah.
That when you're in a position like his, you have to be ultra careful.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
All right. Well, so anybody that hasn't heard, Monday night in Philadelphia at a private UFO event, Elizondo dropped a photo with what he described as a craft looking like the mothership from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Quote, "Guess what we caught in Romania in 2022? That," and he pointed to this photo that he had up on the screen. He went on to describe it as a huge mini city floating in the sky. Now, if you haven't seen the picture, go check it out. It's all over Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But the UFO, which resembles a gleaming disc-shaped craft, has already drawn withered critique from skeptics, believers, and even military UFO witnesses alike, who claim to have traced the photo to not the U.S. Embassy, but a Facebook page. One suggested that Elizondo has been lax in his vetting of such images in a bid to add sensational new material to his paid speaking engagements. Veteran U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Jeremy McGowan, who witnessed a dramatic UFO encounter himself in the Middle East decades ago, told the Daily Mail that Elizondo's dubious mothership UFO fits a pattern with the man's past claims. This unfortunate situation with Lou follows my experiences with him nearly exactly, McGowan said. I witnessed him exaggerate or outright fabricate information that simply wasn't true. Elizondo unveiled the photo at an October 28th, 2024 event held at the City Winery, a wine bar in Philadelphia, for $50 to $30 a ticket. There's a whole lot more here, folks, Elizondo told the audience in a leaked clip. I just want to give you kind of a small taste of what's going on behind the scenes. We're having pilots, military pilots, and civilian pilots in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East report what unimaginably seems impossible, as Elizondo began to explain his real photo of the UFO. Meanwhile, internet sleuths quickly managed to poke holes in Elizondo's 2022 Romanian UFO photo. John Greenwald Jr., a longtime government transparency advocate who runs the Black Vault, quickly tracked the photo back to a September 13th, 2023 post in a Facebook group titled Mysterious Ancient Discoveries. I reversed image searched it, Greenwald posted on X. The higher resolution image of this apparent mothership, which looks at first glance to be piercing clouds with its beatific shafts of light, appears more likely to have originated as a reflection of an indoor chandelier lamp reflected in a window glass. So the placement of the Romania's coal-fired arid power station indicates the image was not taken from the U.S. Embassy, but a building near the Meuse River a few miles away. American Embassy in Romania is roughly 400 miles to the southeast of Arid, in the capital city of Bucharest. While dedicated UFO skeptics were eager to pounce on Elizondo's inaccurate claims, UFO enthusiasts also expressed frustration over the episode. So by midday Wednesday, Elizondo was publicly attributing the error to a friend in government who provided him with the photo a couple of years ago.
Let's hold it right there for a second, because this is a black eye for Elizondo.
Big time.
This is a guy who, and I will defend him here for a second, not on this situation, but this is a guy who's taken an incredible amount of heat over the last 70 years about whether or not he ran the program, whether or not he was a bully. You know, when you mentioned Jeremy McGowan in that report, Jeremy McGowan is somebody who he's made it his life's mission to try and destroy Elizondo, as many others have. And I like Lou. Yeah. I do. He has treated me well over the years, but that's on a personal relationship. We're talking now the news of it. Am I surprised something like this finally slipped? No, I'm not. It happens to everybody at some point. However, when you have a book out, your PR firm has not put you in the best of places to sell books.
Right.
You are now going on a speaking engagement tour. You're now planning on doing a bunch of UFO podcasts now because you literally bit the hand that feeds you and too many people complained.
Right.
And your PR person finally understands that. So the PR person decides, well, I guess we should re-promote the book on the UFO podcast leading into Christmas now. Who's running him? That's the issue that I have. Who is running him? And look, when you get with these big corporations and you get with these PR companies, they take you down places that you have no control over because you've signed the contract.
Right.
Okay. This speaking engagement tour that he's doing across the United States, it's the same way. But somebody like Elizondo, who has allegedly been working in this program for the last 15 years, he should know a UFO from a ceiling lamp or a chandelier. That's just obvious. And there is another side to this story. And that story is this. If he did get that photo, that's the big question right now, because he is in damage control right now. If he did get this photo from somebody on the inside that he trusted, like he said, is that person a plant, a disinformation agent trying to throw him off his game? Because that's the way he's alluding to it. Somebody I trusted gave me this chandelier as a UFO.
Right.
But to take it verbatim, I was talking to somebody a little bit earlier who is, I'm not going to say his position, not going to say who he is, but in connection to this.
Right.
And he called this a major black eye. And I want to be careful because this is a private conversation and I don't have permission to disclose what the conversation is. Okay. But this person said to me, Lou is now going to have to go into heavy damage control. Probably reach out to people, aka podcasts that he stiffed. And YouTube channels and radio shows that he stiffed in order to try and play the good guy now. Okay. The fact that he went with this without vetting it himself or really looking at it and then saying that, you know, he didn't have much time. He just took the person at his word. That is like giving food to a starving person on the street. They are going to eat it up as quickly as possible.
True.
And the UFO community is hungry.
Just a bit.
Okay. They are very hungry. And shame on them for doing that. There's way too much, if we go down a rabbit hole here for a second.
Okay.
What if this is the plan? What if this is his plan all along?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe it is. I'm just throwing this out there as devil's advocate.
Sure.
What if this was the plan to try and shake people away? Who holds the responsibility? Is it Elizondo himself? Is it the alleged friend who gave him the photo?
Right.
Is it Harper Collins? Is it his PR guy?
Yeah.
Who is it? PR guy named Ollie? Who
Right.
is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We don't know. But I'll tell you, Romanian chandeliers are beautiful. They really are. The problem that we have here is people looked up to Lou like a god.
There are some, yes.
Okay.
There are a lot.
I've read a lot of the comments on X about this. Give him a break. I mean,
Yeah.
He didn't have time to look at this. Here's the problem. I don't believe either side. Okay, because there's going to be the sides, the aha caught you people.
Sure.
We told you were fake. We told you we've told the public you're not who you say you are. You're just grifting for dollars and all of this crap with the book. Guess what? If I sold a book, I would like to make some money.
Well, of course.
Okay, that's capitalism.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. That being said, there are people out there who are defending the hell out of this. And the guy's made a mistake.
Yeah.
It's more than just a mistake. We're talking about the entire world was starting to learn who Lou Elizondo is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are bragging about, and when I say bragging, I don't mean that as, I was this. No.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're bragging about your position at the Pentagon and you can't tell a UFO from a chandelier.
Exactly.
You ran the program. You ran the program.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you got it from a well-vetted source, you have seen so many photos and alleged evidence and videos and everything. You should be able to tell a baseball bat from a hockey stick.
Yeah. You would suppose, wouldn't you?
Right?
God.
So the problem is, what is the truth?
Yeah.
And the sycophants that follow him like he's the UFO Jesus are going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But there is more to this. And the insider that I've been talking to, he's even questioning whether or not he should continue.
Oh.
Okay, because of this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't go into detail
No.
about that private conversation because it's literally message after message after message after message.
Sure.
But I will say this. He believes that Lou destroyed his credibility with this.
Yeah.
How do you gain that back in such a sensitive topic? How do you gain that back?
Yeah.
You can't.
Nope.
And more importantly now, when you author a book, I've never authored a book.
Right.
Okay. I have one that I'm writing, but it's not authored yet.
Okay.
Book sales start off really hot and then they drop. Then they plateau and then they drop again. The book has been out since August.
Yeah.
We're in that lull. In order to try and build that plateau up for Christmas, that's why all of a sudden the Lost Forgotten Souls of Ufology, everybody who supported him is finally going to get a chance to interview him.
Sure.
Okay, he's going to do the podcast run for probably the next 3, 4, 5 months in order to sell books for Christmas and try and keep it on the New York Times bestsellers list going into 2025.
Yeah.
How do you defend the book now?
I don't know. Like, I mean, what is he? Barnes and Noble. He's running for number one for 2024, number one best-selling book.
New York Times.
Yeah. So this is he just kicked his own legs out from under him. And I don't know how the heck you climb out of that hole. I really don't.
Absolutely. Hold that. We're going to continue this conversation about Lou Elizondo when we return on the UFO Report with Tim James. My name is Dave Scott. Final half hour of the show coming up right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
I don't want to talk about this until we get back on air.
No, exactly.
Yeah, because I don't want to say something now and then forget to say it.
I totally get it. Yeah, it's just funny how the news changes in less than 24 hours, so isn't it? It's like, oh my gosh, nothing, and bam. So trick-or-treating tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Is Junior coming to the tour?
Probably not.
Oh.
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Probably let him stay at home and have some candy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you went out trick-or-treating. Let's go. And no, you can't have any of your candy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that to him. I wouldn't do that to him. I'm sure half his candy bag will be gone by the time I get back.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I wanted that one.
Oh, Barnes and Nobles and the New York Times for the book. Cool. All right. I thought I got it wrong, and I was like, dang. Okay.
You know, I don't like
What's that?
people who make omelets and it's just eggs.
Just an egg omelet?
Yeah.
Just
Like
fry
they don't
it.
put just
Just fry an egg then.
Yeah.
I that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know.
Or do you ever had just an egg white omelet?
No.
Don't.
I don't plan on it.
Yeah, no. It's like I said to you earlier, no good story starts with I was sitting eating a salad. Yeah, no, I had a couple. I had some blood issues years back, and they were like, okay, I was like, okay, I'll try an egg white omelet. First and last.
Yeah, you don't do that to yourself. It's like eating breakfast foods for dinner. You just don't
give it a rest, dude.
Never.
Mm-hmm. Nice skillet with chorizo sausage and potato and onion and egg all mixed in. Yeah.
I like a good Denver omelet. That's for sure.
Me too. I really do like omelets.
A Denver omelet with hollandaise sauce on it.
Oh, I love
hollandaise sauce, and then sprinkle some hot sauce on there.
Oh,
that's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little sourdough toast on the side.
Oh my God. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
The other thing is I can't overload the hollandaise because it's just like, it's too much. You got to have the right amount, but then you do that hot sauce on the top. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I've been going hard on the hot sauce this week.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not coughing as much. You notice?
Yes, I have actually.
I've been seriously doing some serious damage with some hot sauce.
Well, that's all right then.
Telling you, clears your lungs, man. Fixes things.
That's good.
Fixes things. Let's see here. Paramar. Does the Canadian government tax kids for their trick-or-treating candy too?
Not yet.
No, but they do charge a carbon tax on the candy wrappers because they're plastic.
That's right.
You know, they're waxed paper, and in the plastic containers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Draculticon, it's called scrambled eggs. No, well, I understand where you would draw the comparison.
Sure.
But when you're pouring the egg out and you're not putting anything on it, and
then you fold it like an omelet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, that's like putting mayonnaise on sandwich bread and leaving out the meat, the cheese, the lettuce, the tomato, and just closing it up and biting it.
We were kids. We used to have
Terrible.
ketchup sandwiches.
The green color on the photo, Riley, is just from the person's camera.
Oh,
That's all that is.
Yeah. Oh, wow, what a nice pair of shoes up there.
Uh-huh.
How can you eat too many chocolate chip cookies, Paulie? Oh my goodness.
Now, do you like the crispy chocolate chip cookies, like the ones that crumb up, or do you like the soft ones?
I like the chewy ones.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really sound my age here, but what my favorite cookie is outside of an Oreo?
What?
Oatmeal raisin.
Oh yes.
Love the oatmeal.
Homemade?
Oh yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The non-vegan type.
Yeah. We should have a Food Network.
Peter Benton, how are you?
Cookies.
Thanks, PRM. All right. Thank you to Gregory, Simon ×2, Carla, Richard, and Joe for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. Very, very nice of you. Thank you. And don't forget tomorrow night, hand out candy to the older kids. A 1-year-old is not eating their candy. So you're giving the candy to the adults.
That's it.
All right, here we go. Here comes the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. The UFO Report with Tim James continues right after this. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And if you're listening on social media, don't forget to give us a subscribe, hit the like button, follow, whatever it is that we could hook our fishing line and bait into you. Just do it. Just do it. Peer pressure, everybody. Your friends are doing it, so you should too.
All the cool people are.
Yeah. That's pretty much. We were having a discussion about omelets during the break. I like a good omelet.
Yes, sir.
I do. All right. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube and any major podcast network. Check out our website, spacedoutradio.com. Lots of swag there. Rock out to Bumblefoot. On Twitter, or X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tim James, Lou Elizondo. Has he put out any retraction whatsoever?
Yes, he most certainly did. He put out a short one on X. I always keep wanting to say Twitter, but he did put one out, and very kind of a brief paragraph. But he actually put out a much longer one on the Daily Mail for the UK in the UK. So Lou responds. So with everything that was going on, I am reposting this article for two reasons. One, that I am not afraid to say when I've made a mistake or two, when I've made a mistake. And two, I just sent this response to a journalist because I was on a plane until now, but obviously too late for him to include it, whatever that went. So I am posting my response to his question for all of you to see. I have chosen to put myself out there under the microscope and expect criticism. I also realize it's very easy to sit back and judge when not knowing the full context of the situation. My response to the journalist who wrote this article via HarperCollins. Controversy is nothing new to those who research and study the mystery of UAPs. Controversy. Controversy can sometimes provide additional insight and is a healthy part of discourse. From the beginning of my endeavors 7 years ago, I pledged my complete commitment towards transparency and inviting the public to help solve some of these mysteries. As early as 2017, while still at the Pentagon, I facilitated the release of the now famous Navy UAP videos to help get the public's assistance to figure out what we in the government could not. My efforts to engage the public now are certainly no different. To illustrate this point, most recently, I gave a presentation where at the beginning, I spent several minutes explaining the necessity to ensure We, disclosure advocates, do our very best at ensuring we remain objective and our own worst critics. I then used an example of a recent video taken which appears compelling at first, but I then deconstruct elements of the video using artificial intelligence to highlight the reality that the object in the video is in fact not a UFO, and emphasized to the audience the need for increased diligence as we analyze future videos, pictures, and media. I believe objective analysis is critical, whether one is a diehard skeptic or a true believer. So towards the end of the presentation, I later showed a photograph provided to me by a former colleague in the US government. Unfortunately, the photo that was provided to me was not suitable for the AI analysis, given the limitations of the AI prototype. The photo was said to have been properly vetted, and I took it at face value. Fortunately, some users on social media were able to find a logical explanation for the photograph. Getting public engagement is precisely one of my motivations in sharing these types of photos. The fact that we now have individuals in social media with the expertise and the willingness to conduct the much needed analysis is extremely encouraging to me and is welcomed news, in my opinion. As such, I think this further illustrates why the public should remain fully informed of all developments. As for me, I am grateful for the public's help in resolving this case. Furthermore, this reinforces the notion that we must all remain vigilant and always question the data, including myself, even when the data may be coming from the government. End. Yeah, that's one of those ones that make you go, ugh. He's trying to put a positive spin on it, right?
That is so much different than his comment on X.
Right? I know.
Earlier.
Yeah.
His comments on X earlier were very much like, hey guys, thanks for the great work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You caught this one, and I appreciate the help.
Right. Exactly what he said.
You know?
Yeah.
And really congratulating UFO X on helping him realize that the photo was not very real.
Yeah, exactly. Legit.
and this one here, it really sounded very condescending right at the beginning.
It did. It did.
Now, maybe that's just me. I don't know, but maybe it's the way you read it. I don't know,
Right.
but to me, it sounded very condescending.
It did. It sounded, oh my goodness. Not lack of a better term. It sounded like he was making a bit of an excuse. And yeah, it did sound like he was a little, I make mistakes. And if it wasn't, I don't know. And I get what you're saying.
You know, and I guess I look at that and I say, okay, if that's the case,
mm-hmm.
if that's what's going on, why did you use it?
Right.
Why did you use it in the first place? Like there's no apology there, and nor does he have to apologize.
No.
But it's kind of like, okay, you caught me. You know, it's like when you catch somebody picking their nose.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And you're kind of looking at them, really? Like, are you going to shove that up there any further?
That's right.
A bad example, I know. But it's late night radio, so we get away with that.
Yes.
But that didn't feel like a comfortable statement. The other thing that I think people need to realize too,
mm-hmm.
You're American. Why did you go to a United Kingdom outlet to make that statement? How about what would have more impact?
Mm-hmm.
Putting a video out on your social media, your main social media platform, which is X.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe it's his only one. Why not sit at home and say, hey guys, thank you. We appreciate this. I screwed up.
Yeah.
I screwed up. I took someone's word that I trusted.
Yes.
I didn't expect that to happen. I need to be better. This is a sensitive topic where everything is going to be highly scrutinized, not only from the public, but from our government ourselves. And thank you to UFOX for breaking this down and making me realize that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Why go to a United Kingdom reporter?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, like I think you and I were discussing it earlier. I'm wondering if, you know,
look, this isn't a mainstream media story.
No.
And the outlet that he put it in is like the National Enquirer of the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. But he could have went and did a number of other things.
100%.
Especially on his own social media.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was his PR person,
yeah.
Okay, I've done enough PR over the years to know. That's what I would have recommended. Let's do a quick video on this. You know, apologize. You got caught in the moment. You were on an airplane, and whatever the excuse may be.
Yeah.
Okay. But as of right now, everything, not everything, but I would say a lot of instances really do need to be questioned.
Yeah.
I don't think his personal experiences need to be questioned or scrutinized.
No.
Whether it's his remote viewing or the orbs that were in his house, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. That's his personal experience. Okay. But what does need to come out is and scrutinized is the rest of his UFO story regarding the government.
True.
That needs to be scrutinized and that needs to be questioned now.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Agreed. And it's funny because in that, what I just read, the photo was vetted. So again, my brain, I'm like, okay, so if the photo was vetted, you didn't do it, your people did it. If that's what the summation of what I read, it's like, okay, so what are they doing? Like, are these people not experts that are, you know, your people that are surrounding you and helping you possibly with this stuff? I don't understand how that could slip through. It's very, very tough. And I mean, again, we talked about it earlier and I said, you know, we all get tired and we screw up. That's a possibility too. But I mean, it's not just him running the show, right?
Well, Rob G brings up a good point in our chat room here. He's here after hours host, my fill-in host. He says, if Jeremy Corbell releases a fake photo, no big deal. If the person who started the conversation, being the head of the government UFO program, releases a fake photo, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's very true.
Well, of course.
Okay. Now the question is, whose side is Lou on? Because many people have questioned whether or not he is a disinformation agent. Okay, we know that in his background he was counterintelligence.
Yeah.
Does that now come into play? Does he have the betterment of ufology in his mind? Or does this go back to his Medium article that he wrote a couple of years ago that explained that ufology must die? Right? As one researcher told me today, the problem with ufology that we have is what this person calls the 2017s.
Okay.
The 20, and you wouldn't be familiar. You're kind of new to this.
I'm getting it.
And maybe even some of our audience haven't heard this term before. The 2017s are the people who started following ufology because of the To the Stars Academy.
Right.
Which came out in 2017 and the New York Times article. The rest of the people are considered what, lack of a better term, what ufology should be, was whatever.
Yeah.
But the 2017s, according to this person, they have blind faith in, the majority of them have blind faith in Lou Elizondo. And the blind faithers, what we call the sycophants or whatever adjective you want to give them, they are going to continue to go and push the Bible of Lou.
Sure.
It can't be that way. Look, and once again, I'm saying this as a fan of Lou Elizondo.
Sure.
I'm saying this as somebody who also, for the betterment of this radio show, not podcast, radio show,
Yep.
rescinded my interview request because of the games the PR company for HarperCollins
Right.
was playing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me, even with me rescinding my offer, if I got a phone call or an email within the next 72 hours.
That, yeah.
From
I
them.
wouldn't doubt it.
It would not surprise me.
No.
Because they are going to do anything to get him back out there to climb back up on the staircase to keep walking up about imminent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I will say, can't help you.
Yeah.
Can't help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with this situation, but I know what you're doing and it's dirty.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to be part of your dirt.
No, exactly. Nor should you be. Or the show be, for that matter.
Well, it's not our problem.
No.
It's now, if Lou wants to come on this show
Mm-hmm.
and have a real frank discussion about the photo, about ufology, about anything but imminent.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to touch on it a little bit.
Of course.
He's more than welcome.
Mm-hmm.
More than welcome. But if that call comes from his PR person, Ollie, or the PR company for HarperCollins, we don't have the time of day.
No.
We don't. We respect our audience way too much for that.
Exactly, right?
You know? And look, I might be in the minority. Many members of our audience may want to have him on.
Sure.
I have talked to journalists who said, Dave, you need to do that interview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go after it.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable going after it. I don't.
Trust your gut.
Got to.
No.
And when I have an inside source, okay, who is working very closely with this group, I also want to make sure that I'm reading things down the middle.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And another weird twist about this, I just wanted to bring up, and I just one of those sort of earworms, is if he was one of the secret witnesses for the hearings on the 13th, what do you think people...
I don't think he can testify now.
No.
That's actually a good point. And
they're like, damn.
And by the way, my source actually brought that up.
Okay.
He said that there is no way that Elizondo should testify right now.
No.
If he's on that list, he needs to step aside.
Yep.
Okay. It's kind of like when one of those, you get all of these politicians where they do nothing, but their understaffers do something stupid, and the politician has to resign because of what the understaffer did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That is the thing that we need to talk about.
You betcha.
Okay? He cannot go into those hearings. He cannot speak for a while.
Oh yeah, no.
And if he was on that list, he has to step away.
Rescind your RSVP. Yeah, I'm not coming.
Yeah, we don't need to be doing that.
No, definitely not.
And we don't know whether or not he was on the list.
Right.
I don't think he was. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
However, there's a lot that Lou needs to do now.
Yeah. Damage control.
And his PR company, like what happens to the rest of this tour now? People have bought tickets. It's a Q&A session too.
That's right.
He speaks and then it's a Q&A session.
Yeah.
What happens now? There's a good chance he's going to get roasted.
Very.
There is always going to be the one heckler saying, you suck.
Yeah. 100%.
Hey,
right?
Happy, you suck.
Yep.
There's always a Joe Flaherty out there.
That's right.
Right?
Good Canadian kid.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
No, me
I really don't know. We're going to watch this, see how it plays out over the next little bit, as we got about 3 minutes to go here before we got to say goodnight.
Yeah.
What else can you squeeze in 3 minutes?
Well, let me see. I can do this in 3 minutes. So this is the Twilight Zone-y, Halloween-y, kind of creepy this day in history. So this happened in 1986. So, UK researcher Jenny Randalls receives a call from a British military man who refuses to give his name or phone number. He says his commanding officer has given him her phone number and suggests she might want 600 pages of UFO reports that have come into his possession. One document appears to be a report from 1948 that uses the term BFABs to describe beings from alien objects. Another file from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in 1977 is entitled Elimination of Non-Military Sources. Randalls is suspicious but intrigued. The two speak again on October 30th and agree to meet at a local pub for a couple hours later. She brings along a colleague, Peter Howe. The informant, John, is in his late 20s and a former member of the Royal Army Corps. In 1983, his commanding officer was befriended a USAF computer tech at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base who had accidentally tapped into UFO files. The British officer copied many of the files, but is arrested for being in a secure area without permission during questioning. The technician withholds the fact that he still has copies of the files and manages to tell the British officer where they are and request he take them out of the U.S. So for 2 years, his commanding officer shows John some of these reports until he leaves active duty in 1985. August 1986, John returns for a reservist training camp, and his former commander gives him a key to where the documents are stored and tells him to take them, read them, and offers them to Randalls. The pub meeting ends with an agreement for John to deliver the files the next time they meet on November 7th. John never shows up, but writes a letter to Randall saying that he has been detained at a base and interrogated about the documents, which he is informed was the creation of an educated prankster. He apologizes for letting her down, and she never hears from him again.
That's odd.
That's right. Twilight Zone.
Very, very odd. Well, maybe Elizondo needs to take some lessons there. Just
lose clues.
Disappear for a while. Disappear for a while.
Yep, agreed.
That was eventful, man.
That was.
That was very eventful. And man, we definitely have to follow this story.
You think?
It's going to play out, and I will keep my audience in touch with what our good source says.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get any information that I can pass over to you guys, as Sweet Robbie G will be hosting for me tomorrow night, you'll be in there as well for the UFO report. Then I will pass that information over to you.
Excellent.
But we're going to follow this story as it develops. There's just no way.
That's a can of worms.
It is a can of worms. That is very right. Very, very right. Tim, thank you for a great night.
Thank you.
As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Bob, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Here's the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking, singing out every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, Elgap, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Lou train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Interesting.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I wish I could share what I do.
Yeah, no. I get it.
It's
Wouldn't even share it with me, but that's okay because it's got to be kept. That's
well,
I totally get
this
it.
person is telling me in confidence.
100%.
I can't break that, right?
No, and I wouldn't ask you
I can't
to.
tell you their involvement. I can't
No.
tell you who they're involved with, or what they do, or where they're from, or whatever.
I wouldn't even ask.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what develops. That's for sure. This is just like, oh my goodness.
'Tis going to be interesting.
Tis.
I just don't know how he gets back from this. Because every speaking engagement now is going to have a major heckler.
And even even the people, like you say, I mean, there's going to be people that it doesn't matter. You know, they're going to cheer him on regardless. And like you say, I agree. I like Lou too. I'm just when you this is a faux pas that is like, yeah, it's rookie. Like we were talking, it's a rookie mistake, big time. So it's like,
and the unfortunate part about it, and you know, this is something, you know, in a completely different aspect. Like when I was teaching Rob G, the difference between podcasting and radio broadcast.
Right.
The one thing, and we never are as radio hosts, but the one thing we have to try and be every show is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's hard. You're going to screw up. You're going to screw up words.
Yes.
You're going to screw up names. You're going to screw up information where you say the USS Enterprise instead of the USS Nimitz.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to do things like that.
Right.
Everybody does. Okay. And Lou is allowed to make mistakes too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this was a big faux pas.
Yeah.
This was a big one.
And you're right. Like, how do you come back from something like that? I mean, we've all done, like, you know, ended up with egg on our face at some point or another. But yeah, like we've discussed, he has pushed and he wrote this book and he's, I guess, lack of a better term, built his credibility, and he just cut himself down to nothing and they're all scrambling. They're all going to be scrambling. Even, did you see even his responses on his X page? It was just, they were just so, you know, people are going, geez, man, I believed in you and you suck. And his responses were like, well, I do appreciate your opinion and thank you so much. It's like, yeah, just all, I don't know. I was kind of looking at it, go, come on, man, come up with something. Right. But the people that, his publisher must be going, we want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. And all it did was pour more fire on his critics.
Yeah.
Because now they're gonna hammer him about everything. They're, you know, if he says I got blue eyes, they're gonna say your eyes are brown.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're like, we'll be dogs on a bone, right? And that's doesn't matter if it's Lou, doesn't matter who it is. That's human nature, I guess, or however you want to put it, trolls or what have you. But yeah, you give a critic or you give somebody that's a criticizer just that, crack that door open, they're coming through. They're coming through.
I agree.
It's like,
oh, the door's busted open.
Oh yeah, there is no door now.
Yeah. They're going to make him look like he is the type of guy who steals kids' candy bags on Halloween.
That's right. Exactly.
Absolutely, they are.
What'd you get? Rock.
Yeah. I hate to say it, it's true.
I know. Yeah. And I mean, you know what? I'm
and notice in that article, he starts off saying UAP.
Yeah.
And then in the photo says this is not a UFO.
I know. Yes.
You're Mr. UAP.
I know. Yeah. And then, well, this is the way it was written, or this is the way it was quoted. Did he or didn't he? Who knows? But yeah, for us, that's pretty glaring.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Agreed, my man.
If Lou refuses to give the name, then he has to wear his jacket going forward.
He won't give up the name.
No.
He can't give up the name. He can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't mention that certain people around here, Lee. Not after they come in and into our chat room and attack people. I like them, but as a person, but okay, this is our show. I know you're in love, but we'll just every time it'll be erased. Oh, I am so sore, man.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't snow tomorrow night.
Yeah, those buildings aren't very warm when it gets this time of year. Like my place is a log home, obviously, and in the summer it's cold in the house. It's nice. In the winter it's warm. But yeah, I guess all these heritage buildings. Hey, there's the key point. Heritage. Yeah. Like when we were in there in the summer, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should get. I tried to get some other people to come out to it tomorrow night.
I didn't even advertise it.
No. Well, no, because then you put your phone number down.
Yeah, whoever did that was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got like 11 more today.
Really?
Potentially 9 to 11 more.
What did we have? Well, I was on the tour last year. I wasn't part of the
There
tour.
was 50 last year.
That's right.
We capped it at 50. But I figured, you know what? It's my last one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet Robbie G.
I know, right?
That's a good comment right there.
Yeah.
This is the Seahawks head coach.
Thank you. I was calling there.
Calling the pass over, giving the ball to
the beast.
Marshawn Lynch.
4th and 2.
On the 1 yard line. Oh.
I know.
That still bugs me.
Totally.
What was he thinking?
He wasn't. That was it.
Yeah, it's great that you got one ring,
mm-hmm.
but how do you, against Tom Brady's team,
yeah,
how do you literally make that call?
Yep.
And that is a call you have to make. Lee, you know, we don't use the term grifter in our chat room because it's over abused. I'm going to be on you all night, Lee. Going to be on you all night. Remember, this is a Daveocracy. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, people in the UFO world throw around the word grifter.
I hate it.
Like many in the far right
mm-hmm.
who throw around the German N-word
yes.
at everybody.
Yep.
Once again, if you don't like my comment, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. You could use, well, Lee, why do you have to patronize people? This is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Why do you have to patronize them? We can have this discussion again, Lee. I mean, I love you, man. I do, but why do we have to go down this road every couple weeks, man? This isn't a White Snake song, man.
Oh.
You know who I wish would have put out more music was Coverdale Page.
Yeah, I know, right?
That album
Agreed.
was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I like when you listen to interviews with Coverdale.
What's that?
I like listening to interviews with Coverdale because he speaks such proper English. I can't do but it's so proper the way he speaks, and one would think that the throat would be okay before the show. He comes out and starts singing like that. It's like, my God, man, that's awesome.
I don't for our chat room, I don't advertise any show on here. I don't.
Only Mr. Robbie G.
Well, besides our own,
yeah, exactly,
and that of our guests that night, I don't advertise any show out there. No. I don't know. I don't know why I've never done that. I just haven't.
Oh.
I think it's just because I want people to concentrate on what we're doing.
Sure.
And not worrying about... that's a lame excuse.
Well, but that... Okay, I'm not trying to be contradictory, but yeah, you do promote other people's shows because when guests come on, and like tonight, Charlie's...
I understand that, but
yeah,
a lot of times like people in the chat room will say, hey, this...
Oh...
You know, let's listen to this show, or, you know, or I was listening to this show, or this host, you know?
I get you.
I just never done that.
No, for sure.
Never really liked that. I'm happy the Dodgers won. I am. Don't tell FAP that.
Right.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell FAP that.
You'll never hear the end of that.
No, I won't hear the end of it until after next baseball season.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Tommy Lasorda had anything to do with it?
Maybe.
You never know. If he wasn't sleeping in the dugout.
I'll tell you what I did like about this World Series. I love it when the old school teams meet each other in a final.
Yeah. Okay.
Dodgers originally from Brooklyn go over to LA. Okay. And then you have the Yankees, who are baseball's greatest team ever.
Yeah. Right.
Right. I love it when you get like an original type series. There's so much emotion.
For sure.
Hey, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm disappointed. Just like I'm disappointed with the Edmonton Oilers. But you know what the beautiful part at the end, when Florida won the Stanley Cup? Stanley Cup was raised.
Yeah. What's that? Exactly.
Right? And if you played hockey, which I know Rob G is still getting training wheels for his skates.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. There is something extremely beautiful about seeing adults live their childhood dream.
Exactly.
And hoist that championship trophy.
How many?
To me, there's a real sporting romance to that.
Well, how many of us, like growing up as little kids playing street hockey, man, and you'd be commentating while you're running down the driveway. and
half the time you'd forget the player that you said you were.
Yeah. LaFleur comes down the wing, passes over. Back to Cornway. It was like, oh no, yeah, exactly. That was the best. And then when you won, and if it was for the cup, God, you'd eat your supper like you were like starving child. What's your rush? Got to play for the cup.
Yeah, we got a big game for the cup. You know.
Yeah.
I will tell you the stupidest tradition in professional sports. Is when they hand out the Vince Lombardi trophy for the Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
The first person they interview is the owner.
I know.
I hate that.
Me too.
I absolutely. If the NFL does so many good things,
unbelievable,
and I would say to me, like maybe other people will think differently, and that's quite okay.
Sure.
But I think it was Robert Kraft when they won their first one, and they presented him the Lombardi trophy, and he was like, I did it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No.
You didn't do squat. The only thing you did was pay your good coaches and good players.
Yeah.
And you got lucky in a draft where you took a kid in the 6th round, okay, who ran a 5.4 40-yard dash.
Yep.
Okay. And he turned out to be the greatest quarterback ever.
Yes, exactly.
All right. That's all you did.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that when the owners get presented the Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
And I walk out of the room. That's my bathroom break time.
Yeah.
After the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's where I think like the NHL has it so right. I mean, look at baseball, for instance, for a number up until it's only been like the last, I think, 18, 20 years,
right,
where they've actually presented the World Series trophy on the field. Before they used to present it inside the dressing room.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. I still like it when the Stanley Cup's awarded and Batman hits the ice.
He is such a miserable prick.
You know, the whole place, boo. Yeah. Well, he didn't do very good for the NBA when he was commissioner back. Well, that's a long time ago now.
1 second. Lee, you can say anything you want in the chat room. Don't put down the guests. And this goes for everybody. This isn't just Lee. Okay? Because like I said, I like Lee.
Yeah.
Okay? You can say anything you want. Okay? Just because someone's making money off a book doesn't mean they're grifting.
No.
Just because if you're going to bitch about Linda Moulton Howe having her channel monetized, because I know you don't like her, and many people don't. Okay, doesn't mean she's grifting for dollars. It means she's monetized, just like the monetized channels that you support, including this one, Lee. All right, and others. I hate the word grifting. Capitalism is not grifting.
No.
And the other one, just don't insult the guests or people in the field. You don't have to agree with them.
No.
Just don't insult them.
Yeah.
You've never met that person. I've never met them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when people insult and I'm not saying Lee, because Lee is always good with Keith.
No.
Okay, but Keith Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
Take every show I do with him.
I know.
I take a beating. There's always that one or two people that have to come in and insult him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm very protective of him because he's a very nice man.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to believe him. You don't have to believe anybody. That is your prerogative.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But Lee, don't take this. I don't want you to take it personally. Okay, Lee? I'm just explaining to everybody. The one thing that I like about our chat room is we don't do the stuff that other people do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the one thing I always want our audience members to remember, the people we have on this show, whether you agree with them or not, and I've had a number of guests, I didn't fully agree with tonight's guest on what he was saying.
No.
But you know what? He gave us 2 hours of great radio.
Cool perspectives.
Perspective.
Absolutely.
Right? And for that person who lives on the East Coast to stay up until midnight, till 2 a.m., when he's got to get up early to take his kids to school, go to work. Absolutely. Let's say tonight's guest was a real telling some doozy stories.
Sure.
Okay. And they were treating him like some people come into it's the newbies really who come in and treat our guests poorly.
Yes.
What are we supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Allow that person to go tell his family, hey, go watch the replay. And then they read the chat comments and you're a liar.
Yeah.
You're a bullshit artist, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Let me get my shovel. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's
and Riley, that's a great point. Having a different opinion is healthy, but always be respectful.
Yeah.
It's just like tonight. I want to prove something to everybody here. And I'm not saying I'm the greatest because I'm not. Okay, there's way better people than I who do this show. Okay, or any type of show. But when I was pressing him about the questions, there were no aha caught you moments. There was no pointing fingers, raising my voice. You're wrong. That's BS. There was none of that. And at the end of it, what did he say? He said, I didn't take it that way at all.
No.
And they were hard questions. It made him think.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Broadcast 101, man.
And that's one of the reasons that I mean, obviously, I really got into this is, I mean, with the chat room and stuff here, that's what I found is everybody, there were so many different opinions, and there's some, and
high cake in a cup.
The SOR, all the subscribers and fans and listeners, there are some very, 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 very intelligent people.
Dude, we got a brilliant chat room.
And I'd read stuff and I'd be just like whip over top of my head. And I'd see people in the chat asking questions and, I didn't know. Oh, you know, I just found it very open and safe. It sounds really silly, I guess, but it was a safe place.
Hi, Earth Goat Trees.
Earth Goat Trees. No.
Yeah. You know, and you know how much better I feel mentally since I just, when I had that talk with the audience where I just said, I don't give any F's, flying F's anymore.
Yeah.
Or I got 0 F's to give.
Yep.
I feel that because I verbalized that outwardly and put it out to the universe.
Right.
I literally feel better.
Sure.
I do. I feel way better.
It's a mental dump, man. And I'm not trying to be crude, but it is. It's a mental dump.
Oh, yeah.
When you got mental constipation.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes.
You know what I want? This is what I want. When I finally get off my ass and finish my book, and get it published, I want Lee to call me a grifter. Because I'm going to sell that book. Lee, would you do that for me? Would you do that for me, Lee? Please. Simon with a great hat trick tonight.
Ooh, blinded myself with the ceiling lights. Nice. Simon is from the future.
Oh, I got the thumbs up for Lee. I know he's laughing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When he shows the thumbs up, he's having a giggle. I like Lee. I've talked with Lee.
Sure, whatever.
You know? By the way, Lee, your punishment for your comments getting erased tonight, you owe me 4 dog pics tomorrow.
Ooh.
4.
Oh.
He's got such cute Jack Russell Terriers.
Oh, really?
Oh,
right
yeah.
on. Right on.
Yeah.
I love Jack Russells.
Paramarv, I want to give him an opportunity until I get my book out. I know the title.
What's it called?
The title will be The End of My Happily Boring Life.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's writing the foreword?
I
Jim.
haven't got that far yet.
Jim Robson. No.
I guess for those who are listening and may not understand, and I know most of our audience does because you guys are regulars, the reason why chat room about what is said and what isn't is because not only to protect the guest and the integrity of this show, but the big one is this, like, and I'm not talking the grifting and all that kind of stuff. I'm saying the politics, the COVID, the weird, like ultra uber weird conspiracies and adrenochrome and, you know, Hillary Clinton's death wish list and, you know, anything outside of Trudeau, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The reason why I take that stand is from the time you wake up in the morning until the time you get into our chat room, you are hammered
Yes.
with information. And it's all there. If we got back to real news instead of headline dumps, people would be so much better off. Okay, because real news reported properly gives people information. Headlines, clickbait headlines, create emotion.
Yes, of course.
Okay, and I've a number of times had to calm myself down because, like, guys, I am so fired up politically up here in Canada right now about how Canadian citizens are being screwed, but I can't come out and say that.
No.
Right? Number one, it's not good for the channel.
No.
Number two, I don't care about offending people. What I do care about is people tuning out.
Sure.
Because I have a different political view. And this isn't a political show.
No. Exactly.
Except for Justin Trudeau sucks.
I know he does suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Dear leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a goof.
Yeah. And his minion.
And his minion.
Yeah. So I always like to say, like, when people get into our chat room, I want you to turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off and just sit back and enjoy the woo. Okay. Whether we have a researcher on there like we did with Charlie tonight, who is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or whether it's our Keith Andrews, or whether it's Grant Cameron or Barbara Lamb or Patty Negri or whoever the guest is, you have been hammered with bullshit.
Exactly.
From the time you woke up until the time you got here.
Yep.
You're allowed to take a break and tune your mind out for half an hour.
Yeah.
45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, some of you 3+ hours.
And
that's okay.
Sure it is.
That's okay to do that. Right? We want you to do that. We want you to be able to relax and take your mind off it, because you know what? Donald versus Kamala is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Republican versus Democrat's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep.
Tucker Carlson versus Don Lemon is going to happen tomorrow.
Exactly.
All right. Gary Bettman still running the NHL, unfortunately, will still happen tomorrow. Okay.
Yep.
And we have all of that going on all the time. So when you come in here, the reason why it's a Daveocracy or Davianism, whatever you want to call it, the reason why we do that is we're actually doing it for you guys. So that way you guys can take a break. You can have a break where you could just chill, relax.
Yeah. Have some fun.
And have some fun.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's what it's about. Some people don't agree with that. I don't want people to be getting fired up. Look, there's some good shows that I listen to.
Sure.
And they are firing up people during their hour and a half, 2 hour broadcast, sometimes longer. They are firing up people, hard facts, hard this, hard that. And that is wonderful. That is needed.
Sure.
It's necessary. Okay. But it's also, we're a late night show. Okay. We're not trying to be the late Rush Limbaugh. We're not trying to be Glenn Beck. I'm not trying to be Charlie Kirk or Anderson Cooper or Don Lemon. Right? I'm just here to give you guys a break. Da, da, da.
I like it.
Yes, me too. Me too.
And just think, you get to see all your friends here.
You do? Right? Are you dressing up tomorrow?
No.
We have to dress up for our daytime job.
Really? I got the email today saying, hey, if you want to. And I was like, hey, I don't. I'm not a dresser upper.
I got a costume.
Uh-oh.
I will admit, I bought a costume.
Oh, cool.
One of my favorite movies is The Purge.
Yes.
So I got the neon,
Oh,
the neon face mask with
Mhm.
the X's across the
Yep.
eyes and the spine. Yeah, I got that. I got a machete with blood on it.
great.
Yeah, plastic machete, not real.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah. So I'm dressing up as a hunter from The Purge.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're not planning on doing any work really then when customers come into
Oh no,
Yeah.
hey, a few years ago I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
I was the only one at my place of work who dressed up that day.
Oh, damn.
I dressed up as a lucha libre wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually saw comments or customers or clients, pardon me, with my wrestling mask on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh my God.
Raz, that hurts.
What?
Justine Trudeau loves you.
Oh,
Oh, that's not nice.
that is just malarkey.
That is not nice. Of course he does. That's why he's dear leader. He loves us all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started. Don't even want to go there right now.
I know. I do not either. My ass is killing me.
Yep.
And my hip is killing me.
Oh.
Yeah. My right side now, not the left side,
Yeah.
but all the compensation that I was doing
Yes.
for the left leg injury.
Yep.
The right side is now saying, hey, Dave, remember when we were compensating?
Yeah.
So the knee right to the hip
Mm-hmm.
is killing me.
Well, see, I think we should do some, what do they call that? GoFundMe or whatever. And we'll get some new super cool chairs in here.
I don't do GoFundMes, but we do need some chairs.
We could just do a GoFundMe. Nobody'd know.
I am not El Omnivolador, Rob. How many times do I have to tell you?
Tailbone Tim, that's me. Sorry.
Have you ever seen me as El Omnivolador?
Are you kidding me? That guy's buff. Sorry. Just saying.
Yeah, what's his partner's name?
What was it? El Fantasmo.
That's right.
He's a weenie.
Yep. He's an Egypt.
Egypt.
Yeah.
He's despicable.
Just I don't know where you're coming up with that crap. What do you mean, what was Scott's ring name? I don't know who's Scott.
Scott. I don't know. I'm lost. Seriously. Who the hell's Scott?
Why do people like Rob keep trying to say that I'm El Omnivolador?
Because he likes to poke the bear.
Look at Tim. Tim Mothman says, I saw El Ovni in Las Vegas. It was definitely not Dave.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tim. Yeah. And
Thank
your
you.
beard.
Yeah,
Perfect.
two separate entities.
That's right.
They both saw me.
So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Thank you for that confirmation, Tim. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on with Rob tomorrow night too, eh? Be
Yeah,
careful, Rob.
You know what? You and Rob could share breakfast for dinner before the show.
Hey, we could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdos like that crap. Absolute weirdos.
It's like people that cook steaks well done.
Reminder to everybody once again, if you're giving a person who is carrying a child under 2 years old candy, that means you're giving it to the adults.
Yeah.
If you see a teenager come to your door, give them some fucking candy, man.
Exactly.
Honestly, give them some candy. If you're giving a 1-year-old an Aero bar and the 1-year-old only drinks breast milk,
Yeah.
okay,
Right? Yeah.
but they're damn cute in that costume because that's what wins you over every time.
Yep. Oh, aren't you cute? You don't care about where you're putting the candy. You're just looking at the kid.
And if you ever notice people when you get a real cute 1-year-old, 2-year-old, you don't just give them a piece.
No.
You give them a handful.
That's right. Absolutely.
You give them a hand. And the stupid part about it is when you're giving them that handful, you're actually thinking this is for the kid.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Not knowing that kid hasn't done anything but drink mommy's milk duds.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
For the first year of its life, possibly going into year 2.
The kid's so scared 9 times out of 10. They don't even know why they're out.
Yeah. You know,
Aren't you cute?
Yeah. And you don't even think that the parents are going to be the ones at the ganachery
Yes.
eating this chocolate and licorice and candy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just be blunt here. And then you're not giving candy to like a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Who could be lighting up vehicles on the highway with Roman candles.
Yes.
Okay. Or beating up other people.
Yeah.
You know, you giving them shit for doing something fun.
Yeah.
Aren't you too old for this? No, allow them. They've got their entire adult life to be miserable.
That's right.
Let them have a moment
Exactly.
at 16, 17, 18 years old to get some freaking candy.
That's
because
right.
by the time he or she, especially she,
Mhm.
hits 21, 19 in Canada, 18 in Alberta.
Yes.
All right. Your daughter is going to be wearing sexy cop outfit, sexy prison guard outfit, sexy angel outfit.
That's right.
All
Sexy devil outfit.
Sexy devil outfit.
Yes. And they are going to pre-drink before the party.
Absolutely. Allow
Oh,
them to be kids.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's like the full-size chocolate bars, right? And if you give it to that 1-year-old, dad's doing the fist pump at the end of the drive.
Dude. I don't know if the old guy is still alive.
Oh, okay.
But there was an old. Okay, so right beside the seniors' home.
Yes.
I don't know what that street. I think it's Birch Avenue that goes up into the.
Oh yeah. I know where you're talking.
Alder or whatever it is.
Yeah, Alder, I think.
Where all the kids go.
Yep.
Yeah, they're so right beside the elderly seniors' home.
Mm-hmm.
There's a set of seniors townhouses right beside it.
Oh.
Go in there. Went in there.
Mm-hmm.
3 years in a row with Colby.
Yeah.
You get a full-size chocolate bar.
Yes.
A full-size bag of chips, like the hand bag of chips.
No.
Not the little packets.
no, little snacky
Okay,
packets.
where you get like 3 freaking chips in there.
Yeah.
No. And you get a water and a canned beverage.
What?
Every haul for every kid. When you go up to the door with the kids, right?
Yeah.
When they're small, you go up to the door.
Yeah.
This guy had boxes, cardboard boxes, stacked about 5 feet high
Mhm.
and at least 3 deep, 4 deep. And he was every kid got 1 full-size chocolate bar, 1 full-size bag of chips, a water, and a can of
pop.
That guy is an angel, man.
Damn straight.
He is an absolute angel. And let me tell you something about small town living at Halloween time.
Yeah.
The cops who drive the streets will stop for the kids to hand out candy.
Yep.
And God bless the RCMP for doing that. Because you don't get that in the big cities because it's too rushed. There's a lot of crap going on. I feel bad for that.
Yeah.
But small town living, the Mounties, they're more real, man.
Yeah. And I think you can go to the fire halls too, and they'll usually have the front doors open for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond the Box, how you doing? All right. Let's see here. Anybody else? Hi, Christine Lynn. I couldn't remember if I said hi to you, Christine, so I apologize. Canadian.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
We're so sorry.
Me too. Okay. Tomorrow night on the show, Sweet Robbie G, One are going to do readings and Halloween spooky stories. Now, the rule about the readings, people, okay, and I encourage you to get one, keep it to Halloween topics. We're not doing why does my relationship suck?
Yeah.
Do I have any health scare because I got a mole in between my pinky toe and that other toe that's useless? Okay. Not doing that. Keep it to Halloween and weird stuff. We would appreciate that. All right. Sweets is going to do a great job. And thank you, Rob, for being a hero of Halloween for tomorrow night. You're going to have a blast. Timmy will be here as well. You're doing a long one tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm doing a long one.
Yeah, with Rob.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'll be back on Friday. My guest on Friday will be, I don't know. Wayne Tothrow. Strangeness. Oh, he's got a good beard, man. Look. Oh, I can't wait to see that beard live. Strangeness in the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, that'd be good.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. Fan-frickin-tastic. Thank you tonight to Simon with a hat trick, Gregory, Carla, Richard, and Cosmic Joe for the great super chats tonight. I appreciate the love. Thank you to all our new subscribers. And make sure, if you have not already, head over to Sweet Robbie G's channel, The Social Dig, because if you're a subscriber here, you need to be a subscriber over on his channel as well. And so make sure you do that. Major Lee, thank you for adding to the super chat tonight. Much love to you, buddy. And that's as nice as I'm going to be until you start sending me more dog pics. Yeah. I like he takes good photos of his dogs.
That's
man.
cool.
Yeah. All right. Have fun, guys. I'm out of here. Timmy, you out of here?
I'm out of here. Good night, my friends.
Good night, buddy. Take care, everyone. We love you. Have a safe Halloween.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.